All right, subcommittee members will recall that we had a conversation about banquet halls, lodge halls and meeting halls.
Yeah.
Being allowed in the village, but we wanted to decrease the size so that we didn't end up with huge venues. But it doesn't appear that it's allowed by special use in the chart. So I would also recommend that banquet halls, lodge halls and meeting halls be added back as allowed uses by special use in the four form-based code districts.
We've had
If the board would allow.
I thought we had a long conversation about, size of venue. Size of venue or something, didn't we?
Yeah.
Form-based code area?
Yeah, a lot of it wasn't appropriate in our little, like,
Right.
downtown.
So maybe-
I think.
Yeah, that
okay.
language is there.
All right.
If the intent was that we remove those as allowed use from the village, then I also then would recommend that we remove the section that says that they're allowed in the village, but they can only be 20,000 square feet.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the two needs to be removed.
That what you just said.
Okay, does
We
everybody?
can have the conversation of the subcommittee meeting, allowing them with the reduced size.
The reduced size.
There was two different things though that are similar.
Right.
We had the banquet halls and then we had cinemas, concert halls, theaters and similar places of assembly, which we thought would be allowed.
Yeah, it's just this matter of size, so.
If the
So
church
both.
wants to rent out its hall or something, that should
Maybe
be
get
allowed.
back on track.
So what's the P for?
Permitted.
I didn't find the P.
It's blue, it's right there.
Okay.
Permitted.
We're getting on
Are we
track.
gonna get back
Yeah,
to?
can we get back to that?
Yeah. Please.
Alright, yes. Overlay, density in the overlay districts.
Wait, hold.
How's
I
it?
don't think I
Hey,
finished
sorry,
mine.
this is, Timmy thinks, so right now we allow what residential currently, which we didn't really flush out at the planning commission meeting, but.
I'm talking about the village.
Yeah,
so
go back to the village.
What thing you brought up 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Village.
9 units per acre in the current zoning.
Proposed change, which we thought was, proposed change is what?
2 units per acre, unless you have a very small lot, in which case you go down to like you could have 2.
So basically you're allowing, and 2 stories and what you only, in the other restrictions, I think you'd essentially get expensive condos.
So 2 units per acre, but they must be on the second floor,
Correct,
above a commercial storefront.
correct.
And what's the rationale behind that versus just?
Well, we want, so you want a consistent corridor of businesses, so you get a critical mass of businesses, so people will visit.
Okay.
Looks like Hudsonville.
No, not at all.
Actually, they're like trying to get there and haven't gotten there yet.
I did visit Hudsonville, yes.
Well, so, okay, you guys.
Yeah, but that's, let's flush out the density.
Let's go back to the density before we talk.
That
about
density is
buildings.
nowhere near what
No.
you're having.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Hudsonville density was.
Hudsonville density is far, far, far greater.
What is the density there, do you know?
There is no cap. And the density of the development, if anyone took a field trip over there and saw it's under construction, is something on the order of 40 units per acre.
And we're thinking at 2.
You're looking at 2.
If anything, developers are gonna think 99.9% of developers are gonna laugh at us and be like, good luck.
Additionally, just to ask for the Hudsonville invested time, energy, and money in assembling that land and finding a developer and making that development happen. They desperately wanted it. You guys are not going to do that.
You are correct.
Yeah, but then I guess Timmy taking the position, which it makes sense, I disagree with him, but no residential in the village area, and I would say I disagree with it and I would keep it that way we have it. If anything, I think it's really strict, but.
Can
I make a comment?
At 6 units an acre, right?
Everybody's talking.
Yes, Sue, you just. cut
I think
people
you
off.
can
Yeah.
Not in the village.
Yeah. So I was in several European cities last week. And I don't think they ever had a zoning code. They are built, the plaza is probably 70 feet wide. But then you have all these buildings that are very tall, and then you have these little pathways. It's a maze, okay? And they're probably 15, 20 feet wide, and they go every which way. They build a restaurant down there, they build shops down there. It's a hot mess. But every single business had apartments on top. 3, 4 stories high. It's the European mindset. That's how they build all their cities. don't think it's gonna fly here. So if we make it difficult or restrictive, we make it some,
That's what we've got.
but we're never gonna make it into a Dubrovnik.
No,
And we don't want it to be. And it's a huge garbage problem. Garbage collection. Yeah, it's a mess and we don't want to look like that.
if you go no residential and then you also still try to have pretty buildings with a form-based code, I think then you're killing commercial too.
Earlier, you said that we were, like, for where the following warehouse is, we used to be, or currently at 9 units an acre, I think.
That's my understanding.
Okay, and then
It's higher.
I thought with the sliding slope method, you got down to 6. But
So-
now you just said we're at 2, so
So the
I'm lost.
Bowling warehouse area, they're 2 units per acre. If you have 1.1 acres, you can do 6 units as currently drafted. So that would be, I guess, 6 units per acre. But if if
Okay.
you have more than 3 acres, it's just 2 units per acre.
That's
So if you have
That's what you
80
said the
acres,
plateau.
you
Yeah.
get 160 units, not
right.
720.
do
Yes,
lots?
That's where you said earlier,
Should do
there's
that.
a weird.
What if you do
plateau.
lot?
Yeah.
That we talked
Right,
about
yes,
last
so
think
we talked about that
seating,
before,
they were
what
at
we
2
did
units
in
an acre, but
Because
Under an
think-
acre, it's small.
right.
we,
Yeah.
So the steering committee explain the last listing. The steering committee drafted this with a restriction on how many lots you can combine into a big development, like into a big development area, right? This body.
And what does that do, Chris?
And what that does is it makes everyone develop on small lots and build small buildings. And rather than developer buying 5 or 6, like buying an entire side of Old 28th Street, tearing everything down and then coming in and saying, oh, I got 10 acres now and 9 units per acre, I want to build 90 units. It's no, everyone's gonna come in at their 1.5 acre lots and build smaller, right? But to Trustee Nordike's point about with the way the sliding scale of density works, it rewards you for being smaller, at least in terms of units per acre. If you were to say, take the North Apple Center property and divide it into a bunch of 1 acre lots, each one of them will get 4 units, and now you've got 4 units per acre, not 2. So to correct that problem, the existing draft puts a minimum of half an acre on new lots created in the village. The problem is that now that it does not prevent someone from coming in, buying half of Old 20th Street, knocking everything down, and building a big development like Grace talked about. Well, more likely, those Hudsonville buildings that you guys don't like, that are long and artificially separated to try to minimize their lengths, but they're long. So that, we need to square that circle a little bit, because of the system we're talking about here. And I would advocate that we do it without creating a system where very small lots are not allowed to have housing, but that, of course, if you do vote for Timmy's motion to not allow housing, we can just drop this.
I think I couldn't agree with that. I see why I think it's a fair point. I just think we allow housing.
I'm getting feedback that's about 50-50 on that from the people I talked to last week. So I would say that maybe we gotta find compromise in the middle between your extreme and what we're currently saying is was it 6 units an acre? I think was.
So 2.
So the proposed is 2,
Two.
and I think realistically, and I'm okay with this because we're Cascade Township, we can afford to be picky, we're not hurting for development. If maybe down the road, we may be in a different position but we're fortunate to be able to be selective. I think, but
And it's less
developers
than
are gonna be
current.
laughing at us and saying, good luck with
Thank you.
2.
That works.
I'm okay with it too, but
I think I might have even made the suggestion to go to the sliding method in the committee meeting, but
I don't remember that.
if it was me.
All right, so no residential versus
2.
reducing the amount of residential currently allowed in
What
the
is in this?
proposal. Go ahead, Chris, sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead and do your straw poll on that.
Can I say something?
Yep.
Preston Heights, City of Grand Rapids tried. The mixed use, figuring that it was gonna keep the businesses alive down there, old businesses along the road. failed. Businesses are folding up still. Family businesses that have been there for years, regardless of the city changing their codes and zoning and added apartments above the storefronts. So there's an example where the city started about 4 years ago and businesses are folding up. Okay? I can tell you this right now, unsolicited, I didn't go out and ask people. Unsolicited, I had 3 business owners in the village area, 6 residents in the residential area, and none of them were in favor of mixed use or high density above the stores. They were flat out against it. And that's why they called me, amongst other things that I have both sides of this whole card. So there's my input.
I don't think we're allowing high density. If anything, I think the density is super low.
Well, high density, I'm talking about residential.
Like I can put up a
Mixed
false-
use.
I can put up fake
Mixed use.
information and be like, we don't want a high rental. We're not going for that. We're so restrictive. And then not only that, in the density being 2 units per acre, the village area, then to put the form-based code where it requires like, it costs more money because you're not getting the auto zones, you're getting like, you know, more class, you have to have more windows or different things. I think that, I don't want to look like that either. But I'm not afraid of having a couple I think it's short-sighted to, sorry, Timmy, you have a lot of great thoughts. Great, but I think no residential creates a different, unanticipated, like, it's been 2011, we didn't even know we allowed residential, it happened,
The max I'll agree with is 2,
that's
Perfect.
perfect.
and no more.
I agree with 2 also.
About fighting the, bonuses, about
No bonus.
There's no bonuses.
No bonus, 2,
Not-
and it has to be above a commercial building.
That's exactly what it is.
I mean, literally, what, 2008, 2011 or something, they allowed it 8, they allowed 8, so residential has allowed and nothing's happened.
9,
Right?
they allowed 9.
9, sorry.
They built apartments.
Oh, the fact that what we have currently, and you're not seeing it.
And they built apartments on Gaylord House. But the 9.
Oh, yeah, that's what you don't want with a private road,
Ever.
And Gaylord House, that's what they did, they built.
and that's what
Apartment.
that's what we don't want.
So we're throwing up River Drive, sheet and figure out it.
So what are the 2, Timmy? 2? The
I
big
can go along
concession.
with 2, but with no bonuses, and then have to be above a commercial building. And we did take the hotel out of it. I think hotels are not allowed.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yep.
Delete it.
Scott, what do you think about 2?
I will support 2.
Sue?
Same.
Grace, yes.
And then you don't make all
Chris?
the.
I can probably get behind 2.
John?
no matter
agree?
what I think.
No, it actually doesn't, but we'll just give you a courtesy.
It's
It's a courtesy, Jen.
I'd even go to 4, but I'm happy
Take 'em
with
when
2.
you
Go
get
ahead.
trouble. Thank you, Warden.
Next time we'll start first, you'll have some say. What?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I have 2 follow-ups. Policy direction understood. Lots that are smaller than 1 acre. How would you like this to work? You've got the option of, you get 2 units. That's it. If you're less than 1 acre, you get 2 units. You got the option of, if you're less than half an acre, you get 1 unit. Because that's 2 units per acre. But I do want to make sure that we're thinking about that 10,000 square foot lot. They do exist in the village.
Mhm.
Like, there's 2 units per acre, that rounds down to 0. You want it to be 0, or you want to allow 1, or you want to have 2?
Who's it?
What does that mean?
0.
Is that consensus?
I'm okay with them having 1
I'm okay with
up
that.
to a half.
Okay.
But
Is that? Yeah, I don't
We
know if
need
that's
to-
consensus.
Let's have a little show of hands. I say 0.
0.
0.
0.
That does 4.
What's the minority that Wendy and I got outvoted on?
1.
So the very small lots in the village will not be allowed to have residential. My second follow-up is, we may wish to adjust the map,
Be able to do anything.
because there are houses and
Can
condos
I
in
just-
the village.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
Now.
Old 28th Street. What's the average? Because that's when we're talking small lots under an acre. Is that the majority of them are on Old 28th Street?
No, I
think
think
they're on,
on
like,
Street ranges
East
between 1 and 3-ish. It's,
Full.
yeah, it's Thornapple River Drive in particular, and then that part of part of Cascade Road that's very close to Thornapple River Drive, that's where you're getting those various
Okay.
spots.
All right.
Okay.
So what if we said that the existing residential homes are? We have to say something about that in the village area related to existing
So-
residential homes?
Do we need to?
Yeah.
It doesn't
This
apply.
doesn't
So
say-
residential is only allowed above a commercial storage.
Yeah, but if
There
you're,
were
this is for
few
new redevelopment.
existing Residential R1 properties that were included in the village district. That we noticed to rezone, that we now, because we're saying that residential is not allowed. Are non-conforming houses on a traditionally residential lot. I do think we should probably adjust the village map. To remove those from the proposed. Changes.
Either that or we just say that there, if they had a fire or something and their house burns down, that they could rebuild it. They
Right.
don't have to be exactly the same
Same, yeah.
footprint that they are now. Makes, I think that's really the bigger problem, right? Is that if,
It's
But
just that
they
there's
can
not
bring it back-
no new ones.
But
I
it's
guess
not
my
a
question
problem.
would
We already
be-
have it.
What's the purpose of having them in the form-based code? Now they have to deal with a bunch of architectural requirements and stuff like that, versus a house.
When are we
What
gonna
do you
address
want
the
them to-
form-based code? Is that on your list?
Sorry,
Is addressing the form-based code on your list?
Yeah.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
thank you.
unless we are intending at some point for that house to turn into a business, maybe you are, it should be zoned residential.
Hey,
I think that was the idea, is that it has the ability to become that. But. I mean, there are obviously spots where there are residents in the village area, and I don't think we want to discourage that either.
but we're not, if you're existing, we're not discouraging it.
Yeah, but you're fine right now, but tomorrow if a tornado comes through and knocks down a little old lady's house,
You can rebuild.
You ever go
but it has to be exactly how it was before.
Footprint.
Footprint. And I don't know that that's
So then
practical.
change it to residential?
I don't know, I'm trying to get consensus here, on what people, I'm just throwing out ideas, but
Honestly, in my opinion,
the second mile house disappeared tomorrow wouldn't be built that way today.
but it's worse than that, is I wanna add a rec room out the back.
Yeah.
Now I have to comply with the architectural requirements. And I, that's why I think if you do not want residential only in the village zoning district, then residential only lots should not be zoned village.
Correct,
Mhm.
that,
That's what I'm trying to see.
I agree with that.
So it makes the village smaller.
Oh, well.
Like, protect the residents.
That's how I thought it.
But she's
It
gonna
does,
pull me
right?
out.
Does.
Otherwise, the residents have to change if a catastrophe hits.
Well, at least, even though we're not agreeing on everything, I mean, this is a pretty bold stance to take in general and also against the grain with what's going on in West Michigan. So I think I'm not a bad,
Call Metro Council and ask,
nope,
okay.
we don't need to ask them. They're already
I don't.
Doing
think the guy
everything.
in Granville's gonna be very happy with that.
That just means he's got more work.
What guy?
No, but don't answer.
No, but I'm just saying, like, we're taking a pretty aggressive
I think they-
stance, but generally, I mean, we are in agreement about the direction of the township is what I was trying to say, as a whole.
Serve.
I guess, the quality of our township. I'm not trying to pollute it, not trying to bring in all kinds
Couldn't
of
agree more.
things.
I guess what I'm trying to say is when all,
We have a church here in this township, it's just. It's home.
I like it, and
Let's keep it that.
I think when all the rest of West Michigan is laughing at us and mocking us, at least they'll be doing it to the entire board, not just like a couple.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're on the same page.
Maybe that.
Well.
I mean, this is pretty good.
Do we need an intermission?
I don't think so. I think I'm good with the two of all commercial. You gotta remove the residential properties out of here so they don't have to wind up going into the form-based code to be built.
Mhm. Nobody's getting
okay.
booted.
What do you guys, you guys had a little powwow after that was all discussed. Is there something we're messing up.
No, I'm just trying
I
to
guess-
make sure I
I don't
understand.
think, I'll think like it's, whatever the goal is of creating the village
Mhm.
is gone.
Yeah, it's been.
Because
it's the
you're
way
now,
it's
you're
been.
picking, and I don't, and that's fine, if that's the direction we're going, but what, I think when this whole thing started a couple of years ago, we started talking about this village and the desire and having the mix of commercial and more walkable, we're making some investments in buying commercial properties to create a 6-foot walkway under Cascade Road and the bridge improvement. Like, I think it's all part of a process that's working,
Mhm.
and I
Created more
I think that I thought our old zoning was confusing, and now I find, I don't even know why the village core then is moving in this direction.
What are the big problems with it? I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just curious.
Well, so right now, you have some developments on the corner of Thornton River Drive where, Frosty Boy is and all that, right? Very distinct look. That kind of goes along with what I think, that's what I heard when I first started, is that was kind of the look and feel everybody wanted in the village area. And then what we didn't want was to put some Thornton Plaza, where
Mhm.
you've got bowling warehouse, Dollar Tree and all of that.
Yeah.
And it looks very disjointed. It doesn't look consistent. It doesn't actually give you that look and feel of a village. So I feel like taking some of this stuff away is, it only, and then with the reduced density,
It's
you're
gonna
not-
stay
it's not
that
gonna be a
way.
village.
Right.
It's just gonna be what it is. Which is fine.
but the-
I
and it's
think
the big
just-
thing-
That's what my power was. And like, I wanted to ask
Is-
if this was common in other communities. I mean, I've got other community experience and I'm not seeing that. before.
So if we, and is it that what we've taken away that really in the density part, or which part do we strip?
Well, and
it
now
out?
pulling the form-based code out, when you talk about, when you, those homes or the residents that were just the form-based code.
Yeah,
Like, there is some potential there to have those houses become businesses at some point, if that. So.
but they don't have to be.
They don't have
Has to be changed if they have.
Well, wait a minute, so,
Yeah, I think you guys are forgetting the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes that are up in the R1 and R2 district that can walk to the village. They're only 2 blocks away. And same up Thornapple River Drive, up Berger and all that, those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes that can walk, if we have a path, they can walk down to the village. So it's not all has to live right in that parking. There's plenty of
I never
homes.
said that it did.
Well, you're saying
I'm
that
talking about
residential
looking
out
at
of
feel
it.
for the whole village core area. Like, it's just disjointed. That's the country side.
yeah, but it's what, the big parts are changing the zoning for that, the parts that are homes. And then the density, lower it to 2, even though some people would prefer 0. Are those the big things that stripped it away?
I think so.
Anything else though, just to have the conversation? I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just,
When we put the safe walking bridge over the river, that helped bring people into the village. So, and the parks. So we're working on getting people in. the
Like I
village.
said, I will go in whatever direction the board wants to go. It's
You
just
don't have to live in
the
it.
the evolution of conversations over the last couple of years since I've been here. It's all been going in this direction. Now it feels like someone that's being peeled back, which is fine.
Chris, what do you think? Again, I know you're not advocating for anything, but to have, you understand that the size, keeping it, buildings not as large, height or width of Ada, smaller than what most developers want, without getting into the congestion, but still allowing that to be successful to have it, what would you, can you give a units per acre that,
I don't think it's defined in units per acre. I don't think it's defined in units per acre. I think it's defined in, do people want to live nearby here? Do they want to come here to shop? And do they want to stick like one business at a time? And if they decide that, hey, this would be a really great place to live, is there a place for them to live?
what about, I personally like the form-based code, even though I know it makes, it costs more, you know, it's not cookie cutter.
Well, we haven't gotten into the architectural stuff yet. I think
So we-
I'll bring that up. We haven't gotten into it yet. That was probably, I thought this was good. If you want my opinion, I remain concerned about the small lots. And if they're not allowed to have the single dwelling unit, that it would fit on their lot, that's going to discourage investment. That would be my one.
And sorry, which is the change we just made?
Is the change you just made on a 4-3 straw poll that the 2 units per acre should apply all the way down the spectrum to the smallest lots, at which point 2 units per acre equals 0. Because they are less.
Because of that.
I am embarrassed to say I didn't quite think that through when I voted.
Voted no.
I think you voted no.
Yeah,
So I'm agreeing with you.
yes. It was us.
So basically we got it right, but the 4 of them got it wrong.
I didn't say that, you did.
All right, one more time, clarify it so we can do a little straw poll. I'm really losing my 2 unit per acre point of view here, the longer we go.
May I just quick note?
And we need to
No.
improve, we need to include the old 28th Street too.
I'd like that.
Yeah.
I'd like that feedback.
I do want to note that we had a lot of calls, pleased and excited about the village that didn't give us public comment, that are not heard. You can make whatever decision you'd like. I know you're hearing from people, but the planning department, I would feel irresponsible to not at least, even though they didn't say that they would submit a public comment, we did receive at least a dozen calls when we explained to people, they were so excited about the idea of having somewhere lively. Again, it's consistent that you hear residents say they don't want to be Ada, they want to be their own unique Cascade, that they were looking forward to this.
So they want to allow residential rather commercial.
They read the form-based code and were excited about what was happening.
Does anybody want to change their vote?
I'm gonna stick with 2 units per acre above residential. You don't have, you
Above
don't have the acre, you don't get the unit.
I support Tim.
It's more than we have now.
It's less than we have done.
Well, there's only, right, but we don't have anybody doing it now.
Right, it's still less.
So there
Nobody's
it
gonna
is.
do it.
Thanks, you guys, we never will.
I hope so.
I think that we will never be a walking community like East Grand Rapids and some other province.
But our current zoning allowed the 6 units an acre, but, or 9 or whatever. But I don't think it allowed it with the commercial use, did it?
Yeah, it was a special use for up to 9. You had to have it over
Okay.
the
All right.
commercial use or behind.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
I'm sticking with 2.
I'll stick with 2.
And for 2,
Who's with Timmy?
you don't have the acre, you don't get.
We're there, we're
you don't
for
get,
5.
We got that.
Who disagrees with Timmy?
Nobody wants to disagree, raise them. Thank you.
Those who disagree with Tony have to order everybody pizza.
Yeah.
There won't be any businesses to order pizza from. It's gonna be a bunch of huts all.
We're going to proceed to residential density in the overlays.
We can
Not
try.
really, but I.
We have,
You can try.
oh, we have to knock the density thing out because that's what the concerns and the misinformation, all the, and also. Yeah,
Alright, I got, good, we have Matt. Okay, in the 28th Street overlay, which is the light blue, housing is not allowed. In the.
No hotels? No hotels?
And no hotels.
correct.
You want hotels? Maybe run down hotels as well? Do that.
No new hotels.
No
I
new
want to know
hotels.
where there's new hotels.
No new hotels.
Absolutely.
Star, which is the light orange. Housing is permitted at up to 8 units per acre with bonuses that can get you up to 15 units per acre. The maximum height is 60 feet as drafted. Oh, and 28th Street overlay, the maximum height is 60 feet. Has to be office, can't be hotel, can't be residential. So
How many
that's-
stories is
Big
60
map.
feet realistically?
5.
Well,
Can you do the, what we have now versus what's proposed?
Yeah, but I'll need some support of it. Down here. Well,
And
actually, you know what, I
LPDs.
can do that, because what we have now, well,
Yeah.
let me make 2 points on what we have now. The first one is, almost all of this area is taken up by PUDs.
Yeah.
Find all sorts of different rules all over the place, and we have like, but, so that aside, General business down here is currently seems to be too, correct? Yeah.
Is everybody supportive of the high density in Star? Can we just knock that one out?
No, we have to talk about it and flush it out. Yes, I am, but I think there's.
I think Timmy's supportive of it too. I don't want to put words in his mouth.
Star,
Yes,
a lot of traffic.
I know.
There's already a lot of traffic.
My
Let's put up that big development there in the corner.
It's
We gotta put it somewhere.
I
McDonald's.
would like to
yeah,
ask one question
That
though.
little area north of
What
Costco.
does, or could staff ask the fire department their thoughts on that? Because we don't have a ladder truck and 5 stories is a lot to ask of that.
You wanna-
Be.
I don't know,
We
I'm just
talked to
asking.
chief about this. We did.
That's
The
what it is
mutual
right
aid.
now.
It is.
We have the whole
Yeah.
expressway service that.
So if you go with Star with, how many units per acre?
I thought if
8 units per acre, you get up to 15 with bonus.
Up to
Talk to
15
Chief
units
about
per acre in Star. But there has to be a traffic study before approval.
Correct.
Yes, that was written.
McDonald's, that's McDonald's.
I think we've always
Behind
included,
the pop up where the casket
Star,
was.
hotel in Star?
It's.
there's already.
What
one
McDonald's.
of
Yeah, no,
Okay.
Build up
they're
there.
banned. New hotels are banned there.
If one of the hotels that are located there is torn down, is another one gonna be allowed to be built?
No, you tear down automatic. If you tear down yourself, it's not knocked down by a tornado.
Right.
You tear down yourself, you don't get knocked home. You just wait for those. All right,
So wait, Timmy, you're fine with that? Cause that is the highest,
That's where you want the density, right down there.
Wait, hang on.
But then
No,
it's
it's
one,
not about, hang
Hang
on. We can't say you, it's not about one person. These recommendations that are this
True.
zoning did not come from one person. I think that is
I
completely
agree.
unfair and it's pointing the blame at one person and that's
Sorry.
not how it is.
Correct.
It came from, that recommendation
will-
came from the planning commission when you were on it.
I will go
West of
along with that.
96,
So long as there's.
You were
traffic
okay
study
with
that
it.
goes with it for approval.
I'm just gonna say it's frustrating because what's frustrating is spending hours and I love this talk, but it's frustrating spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and months working on a subcommittee.
And I thank you for all your
I-
time.
I'm not gonna talk about it. And the fact that we did this based on conversation from you and from the planning commission. We had a whole list of concerns and things that we wanted addressed and to spend all this time working on it. And then it to come down to it and then to get it all torn up when all along the way, nobody could have said something along the way. And it's just
When
frustrating.
this came out in print, there were a lot of things that weren't discussed, like there shall be no limit on residential units. That was never discussed. That came out in this, 3 versions or 4 versions ago.
Mhm.
I think it's,
That hotels in 7 different
Wait a minute.
districts came out in this.
so
So that's why I'm being a little picky on what's going on here. I don't mean to.
Which is, it's perfectly fine, but I'm saying going back on things that we talked about that came, the actual suggestion came from you on the planning commission, if we're gonna say names, it came from that. And then now you're arguing the opposite end.
I think
So
we're all
wait.
agreeing with stuff. Like, if we're in agreement, why are we spending, can we move
Yeah,
on to the
I-
next?
I think we're all just,
I think we're all just in shock.
We got it, we got it.
Good work. So Timmy, you're in agreement. You just want to. Yeah.
All right, we're there. We're
Okay,
there.
next.
Next.
60 feet is fine with the fire chief here.
Airport Station 2 is just down the road from.
And what you have down near the airport, mutual aid.
Next.
Glenwood overlay, which is the light greenish blue. On the map there, allows 8 units per acre with up to 15 by bonuses. And 60-foot height limit.
I'm fine with it.
Pretty much taken up. There's not much to do there.
It's less than what was.
Yeah.
What's current.
You also got a lot of wetland in there.
Currently.
Yeah, I know, it's like, it's, it's almost.
Map that I'm looking at.
Oh.
Mine's different color. It's gray on here.
What version are you on?
No, he's talking about Glenwood.
Gray are the streets.
But what are the streets?
It's Craft Avenue, it's basically the office park off Craft Avenue, south of 96.
Oh,
Behind Gippers.
It goes back around and you can see Target across the water from there.
okay.
There's a couple of pieces of property right there that actually would be, I think, good for.
They
housing,
would.
So that's why we tolerated.
Gotcha.
All right, next one is Centennial, which is the gray up there.
Good.
That allows up to 6 units per acre, up to 10 with bonuses, and up to 48 feet in height. That is a decrease from 12 units per acre allowed under current zoning in that area. I don't know about height.
It can be up to 72 if we get that area.
Shut that down.
Sorry, what did you say, Andrew?
Hang on, which area are we at? This seems,
Centennial.
Centennial has areas that can be up to 72 feet.
So
yeah,
currently,
I know.
currently it's how many units per acre?
12.
We've downsized Centennial Park too from its original, because it used to touch 28th Street, just to be clear on that.
Mhm.
Like, okay.
When we were on
Yeah.
the planning commission, I think it had a, it's like, it was, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
it was anything above 12 was by special use. And you guys changed it to up to 12 by special use.
Okay.
I would be okay with I would prefer to keep it at 12, not decrease it, because I think that's a good area to absorb some.
I think they should have some zoning for daycare centers, things of that nature, because you've got a traffic light to get out on 20th Street. Be some, alleys, you go wild and crazy, maybe like the Great Wolf Lodge in there. Or, yeah.
Wait, that's, you know, that's a hotel.
You're all over.
You know, that's a hotel. No, but I'm just saying, that's a hotel.
You lost your mind,
There's, yeah, the water slides, the water parks,
Jimmy, let's shut.
the truck cruisers, that type of thing.
Stop talking.
The Craig's Cruisers, Great Wolf Lodge though, that's a whole different.
How many stories is Great Wolf
You've
Lodge?
also, oh, the storage units.
Timmy,
Storage units.
Depends which one you're in.
What? You have to eat before you come. That's not, wait, is it 4 hours?
you just make sure that there's casinos, solar farm,
We're gonna do solar farms?
brothels.
Centennial Park.
Daycares are already allowed, it's in here.
And we had,
Here's a lot.
in the PUD for Centennial Park, we had area designated to be a daycare.
They want
Over 20 some years, and when we changed it
back to
to
residential.
let condos be built there, because when we're on the planning commission, because nobody wanted to build daycare there.
Things
It just
change.
sat empty.
Yeah, PUDs don't, they're not,
Honestly, that's a great reason why we're trying to avoid PUDs going.
yeah, PUDs are,
Because
So that was
somebody is
too specific.
micromanaging the
Yes.
market.
that crisp, well worded.
All right, next. Next overlay.
Yeah, we're not done with Centennial. I don't think we had consensus on that.
I'm sorry, okay, I'm sorry, yes.
How many residential units in Centennial?
6, up to 10 with bonuses.
I
And
say we
Ray
keep
said
it at
upping to whatever it currently is. That's what it's
Why
currently.
do you need the bonuses?
Honestly, the bonuses, the original impetus for the bonuses was to try to do things that you are not allowed to tell people they have to do, but you are allowed to incentivize them to do, like make units for sale instead of for rent.
Well, I also think that it was also to support the farmland preservation.
Yes.
That was such a priority
Yeah.
for everybody, and that this was a way to support that.
We created the bonuses as a venue to,
Correct.
the avenue to
Yeah.
get the preservation of the farmland.
Yeah,
So
That makes
without
sense.
any bonuses anywhere, you don't have the ability to.
It's a trade-off.
It's a trade-off.
it's not the only reason for it, but it is one of the qualifying.
You have kind of offset your bonuses though by decreasing the density that you can get to with your bonuses to what's less than what's allowed now.
How many acres are in that development?
I have no idea.
What develop?
How many acres are in there? We're talking 10 units an acre.
Well, there's multiple developments within Centennial,
Yeah.
so I mean, there's Centennial Park, but then you have.
Village of the
you have multiple
Cascade.
Condos.
I'm not talking about condos, I'm talking about office buildings. How many possible units do we put in there?
To me, like, if you have 100 acres and you allow for 15 units, that doesn't equal 150 units because you have to create roads.
They're there.
You have to.
Be
it-
1,500, no?
1,500, yeah. It doesn't equate equally just by saying an acre equals this many units. just doesn't,
Just like
because
with
you
the-
have to
the
split
village
lots.
Because
Green space.
The, yeah, the,
setbacks.
Usually when we do build out analysis, we multiply by 80%, just for reference. But we could still take the number of units,
what's
multiply
88%?
by 8 and see.
So what's 80% of what's available in there?
I'm gonna guess around 100, 120, but again, a lot of it's already built out.
I think that's a
Yeah,
good,
if
I
you-
think
How many office buildings?
If
is there?
if a
There's a lot of
developer
vacancies.
buildings came in and leveled.
We
not-
have,
not
we
every
have,
single
Office
office
building.
building, every single office building, and
We
then
did.
built to the maximum possible density, which again. If
That
figure out
wasn't
it's
that
really
much, no?
possible, it would be 800 houses.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, I would- yeah.
Now, if you'd have to level every office building and completely rebuild to do that.
Which,
And I think, just to be clear, more realistically, I think someone is gonna buy one of those office buildings at a time. Each one of them sits on around 4 to 6 acres, so we'll say 5. And then, we'll say they get to their bonuses, you're talking about 50 house units at a time. I think that's probably.
So are you thinking less than what is on there? Or are you thinking more?
I'm thinking less.
What are you thinking, like
less
4?
than what? Less than 12, which is currently allowed, or less than what? The proposed is what?
Less than the proposed 10.
Less than 6? Timmy, you're
I'll go,
gonna
Kill the
kill.
bonus.
You're
the
literally,
conservation.
Timmy, I hate humans.
which is.
I hate new people as much as any, like, I hate
I hate humans.
consistently, not just certain ones, everyone equally. But like, this is,
Android.
no, literally, like, we're already so, which I'm fine with. I'm fine, like, people, you're gonna kill it. Like, I don't want Cascade to change either. In fact, I wish we could kick a bunch of people out. But having said that, this is so extreme. I don't think you realize what you're doing.
Yeah, 94 acres.
oh, yeah.
No, really, like, if we were like in a bubble and we got to like, that'd be awesome, but in the real world, like, I agree with you, Timmy, but I just think we collectively, like, I don't think we're thinking through.
I have thought through it.
Maybe you think a little more, I don't know, I just think you're counting it.
Do we?
We're already gonna get so laughed at by, which I don't care, because most developers, we're not looking for what they're selling it. And I know we already sound like snots, but like, this is going, I don't know.
Are we at an inflection point where we want to take a break and come back to this?
No, because
I don't think we're ready to take this to the board Wednesday.
I don't either. I think there's other parts of it.
I think we have a lot more to
We're
go.
far away.
yeah, but Timmy, the direction you're taking it is like, we're going to like,
Where are we going?
your direction is, Timmy, that's the problem. We have had. You can have these discussions. You're taking it. I don't think you realize how far you're taking it the other way. And I completely hate the direction that Cascade Township, the pressure that we're getting, but like, this isn't even 6. We're going for 12 isn't that high. You're going to 6 and now we want to contemplate less? Like, no way.
How is it we're having a conversation about this for hours and.
Yeah.
Because nobody reads and studies.
It at all.
No, because literally nobody reads or understands what's in front of them. So you throw out softballs that get the crowd amped up. So for example, there's not one super high building. There's not any of that high density. All the barbershop talk isn't reality. All the stuff that we listened to from the people at the planning commission meeting who all got applauses, they weren't real issues. It's not a problem. No, they're not. It's perceived problems. We're not Hudsonville. We're not Grand Rapids. We are going so far the opposite direction. And I hate the pressure too. If I were queen for a day, I'd be the biggest jerk ever and kick a bunch of people out. But you are going so far the other direction, you're going to kill us. And I can't believe that I'm the one saying it, because
Well, we gotta throw this out for conversation.
but you don't understand what you're doing. And not only that, it's even worse because you guys are to the public lobbying the what ifs, scare tactics that aren't even in our zoning. And then you're yanking it back and going from realistic to the opposite of like, well, in a perfect world, we could all, I'd love to ride a horse and kick out all the, but you guys are doing the worst thing because all those people that comment, they were pretty much misunderstanding the exact, you literally lobbed out the scary stuff. And not only that, no, listen, Timmy, because you're throwing a bunch of BS out. Listen, because you do a lot of lobbying and scaring the crowd, scaring the masses, throwing red meat to the base. But now you're doing it even worse because you're yanking back and making it so unrealistic. We're screwing ourselves. And you don't even realize it. And you guys are all like, putting your fingers in the air to see which way the wind blows for your popular opinion. You don't understand what you're doing.
I'm one vote.
Yeah, but you guys are all like, literally, it's what, then have a real discussion. Don't throw out BS that's never gonna happen. We literally were so thoughtful and so purposeful and so restrictive that everybody's laughing at us, which I don't care, because all the developers can suck it anyways, residential and commercial. But not only that, so you throw this out, we don't want to be Wyoming, we don't want to be the West Side 20. Now, then you're doing it worse. Then you're pulling out anything realistic, so you're screwing us.
There is within these multiple.
No,
versions.
no,
Yes,
it wasn't.
was.
No, it wasn't. Throw a bunch of pictures of Hudsonville that would never happen.
He gave me.
You
the
don't know what
Hudsonville.
you're doing.
No,
You want,
he
I
gave
will,
me the
you guys
Hudsonville
go
to
less
look
than,
at.
you guys go less than 6 in Centennial, you're idiots. You are absolute idiots. And I hate growth and development the way it's going. We are as snotty as it can be. You don't know what you're doing.
Thank you.
I love you, but you don't know what you're doing.
Well, like I said, I'm one vote.
And I don't even like developers. Like, we are so all over the place here. Literally, they're all a bunch of idiots, which is fine, but that's probably why they don't want to watch how the sausage is made, because it's so pathetic.
Sausage right now, guys.
I don't know what you guys are doing, but
Well, you don't count. You do count, but you didn't run. So let us be idiots. You can't just, we're not doing free for all. I get it. It's painful to watch.
Well, now let's move on.
No, what are you? No, let's have the Centennial talk. 12, 6, 0.
I think our manager has his hand up. I'm curious what he'd like to add.
I just have a comment on some feedback that I've received.
From who?
Well, I would prefer not to say the name, although you guys are gonna know who it's from.
Got it.
But you need to write off what he tried to present years ago and look at it from a perspective of him being actually a landowner in Centennial Park with 7 acres of property.
Yeah.
That he cannot find anybody to do anything on because of the requirements. and
The
restrictions.
current
The
requirement.
current requirement. He was here and he ended up leaving, but the 7 acres, they check in probably every quarter. We meet with them. There's no desire to develop that property with the quality that we have, that we demand in Cascade, and make it affordable for someone to build. Now, I'm not saying that we need to make it affordable for the developers, but if you want to expect high quality, you may have to increase the density a little bit. So they actually can sell a few more units.
And that's an area that
I
can
mean,
handle
I
it.
hope that makes sense. I mean, it's a numbers game at the end of the day, and right now we're looking at just a vacant 7 acres. It's just sitting there.
Yeah, the only thing,
And that's with the 12 acre.
That's what the 12
So-
units per acre today.
and that's helpful to hear because the proposal we got from him for that exact lot was so far
So
above
here's the thing, though, but we need to remove him. You didn't get the proposal from him, and I don't mean to be callous. It was from a developer
with
that
him.
was from Chicago that wanted to bring in 240 units. I get it. We're talking extremes. I'm talking about probably closer to where we're at today. He understands that. He's a lifelong resident. He's raised his kids here and he's got property here and owns a business. And I guess it's just it's some feedback that we've received over the course of the last few years. And I sent you guys all an email today because he actually emailed me an article that we got. You know, I know there's other developers in there. They did actually take down a building. It's right behind our admin building. It's just sitting there. It's for sale. It's on the market. There's another 2-story building across the street. It's vacant except for about 200 square feet. I can't remember 1,000 that is. But it's on the market.
The development we're getting is a drive-through bank.
Yeah.
That's what we're approving, another bank, a drive-through bank.
And I only say this as conscious, this is what we are hearing. And granted, if that's not what the board wants, then we'll continue to present the zoning the way that it is. But I think that what we have now is not working. And I think if going lower intensity is definitely not gonna work.
So you're saying 12 will offset some of the,
12 won't do anything. 12 is what it is now.
what do you suggest?
And I don't know that I don't know where we started when we first started this project.
We started with 8
8
up
to
to
15.
16.
15, just like the other.
So 6 to 10.
6 to 10.
That's what you guys you guys took it down to 6 to 10 at the last work session 3 or 4 weeks ago.
And then
Which is
with
what you
with the
said.
bonuses, where would it be?
10.
Well, that's with bonus.
This happened in this room with this board. You guys talked about it and it went from 6 from where it was down to 6. And with the bonuses, it could go up to 10.
No, that still puts
no,
a
that-
cap on the height of the buildings, doesn't.
Yes.
So we're not talking about a 12-story apartment building,
No, 4 stories.
4 stories, which would be equivalent to, well, the little foremost headquarters building.
Correct.
But then there's other issues too that are also required, right? Like, it's not just, what other requirements do we have for buildings going in there? That. Like setbacks, the materials, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, well, one of the bonuses is there's only more green space.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways you kind of bonus.
So Chris, what is a good number? If I'm hearing that 12 is not enough, what is a good number that?
So I mean, it's Jay that says he's hearing 12 is not enough from developers. It all depends on the context of the land. So if the land's expensive, which it is, because it's Cascade, then developers are going to want more now. To the point that the previous proposal that was, well, I didn't even get the one that we projected, right? Was like 35 units per acre. So that's astronomical, way over the top. Nobody's advocating for that. We chose 8 to 15 intentionally. Just to try to visualize this. 4 units per acre is what most single family subdivisions are. That's 4 units per acre. And so if you say, okay, well, now they're gonna be duplexes, that's 8 units per acre. So, like 8 units per acre is not gigantic multifamily buildings, it's duplexes, right? So 12 units per acre, now you're probably gonna have 3 or 4 units that's in that building, that same sort of size building, right? And so now we're talking, smaller apartment buildings, but we are talking apartment or condominium buildings at that point. When you get higher than that, that's when you add that 3rd and 4th story. Is that helping everyone kind of visualize what we're talking about here? And then if you're gonna really blow it up, that's when you're gonna get 5, 6, 7, 12, et cetera, like you were looking at with that Grand Cascade quote unquote.
Which we don't want.
Which which is just simply not allowed in this community under this zoning ordinance. And probably isn't allowed in your current one either,
No.
unless you're measuring your height from the freeway.
Well, but we did allow for 15 units an acre at the start, did we not?
With bonuses.
Bonuses, so I mean,
And that's 5, that allows 5 stories.
Yeah.
That's right.
So there's a great place in the township to do that.
Stars and nice place, so
Great place for development.
enjoy it.
So then what do you think about Centennial? That's fine, we gotta come up with a number.
I think 4 maybe?
we were at 6 to 10, right?
Okay.
4
Just put them in.
was 12.
Very single family density.
Just-
If that's what
I'll
you're looking
read-
for, then-
6 to 10.
I'll reiterate, at the last work session that we had.
I know, that's what I'm saying, that's what-
It's already reserved 6.
That's what's frustrating
But
is
now you
like,
wanna go-
we're gonna keep going lower and lower.
6 to 10 is where we're at.
Now that I hear that explanation, that extra
12.
context, that helps.
I'd say to 12.
Can we do 6 to 12? Can we go to 12 with bonuses?
Look at us.
Yeah.
Did you get your numbers?
No, but does it make sense with what we?
No, you won't get bonuses. People won't do extra things.
Yeah, I
they're
do
not
if they
doing it
keep-
with
I
the
would do
people.
I would do without bonuses.
Looking at where it's located,
Yeah,
most of your traffic flow is gonna be going back to the west. I mean, even if you had all those apartments or condos filled up, most of the traffic flow is gonna be going away from the Cascade area.
and the infrastructure is already there. The roads are redone, the curbs, the lights, sidewalks on majority of it. It doesn't, it's, you get in and out. It doesn't affect traffic flow and congestion for most, for Cascade very much. And I think you guys might disagree. I think 12 is not too many at all.
Put something on the table, Scott.
You're not gonna like what I was thinking, so.
Someone's got to say something. I said 12 and nobody bit.
8 to 12.
What were you gonna say?
I was thinking about, I'm always trying to think of a way to get people to spring for the bonus. And so, I'm hearing that we're at 12 and nobody's building out there. So to say we're gonna take it to 10 is really a moot point. You could leave it at 12 and nothing's gonna happen there.
Hundred ways to do a bonus to get to less.
Kind of be ideal.
No,
But it's not
literally
working,
no. Like,
so-
Depends on what your motive is.
Timmy, you gotta move, honestly. You gotta go out to like
He just moved here.
You could say
think you
six
moved
where
into the wrong
six
place.
is where it's at, and then with bonuses, maybe you give them a carrot and you take them up to 13. Told you weren't gonna like what I was saying.
I like it.
You know, I mean, if part of the goal of all of this was to try and preserve large tracts of land in the east side of the township, you're gonna have to sacrifice something in another part. Or you just give up, you just let it go the way it is. But if the motive,
Chris,
I don't,
6 to 14.
How about Sue and John?
I don't love it, but I could get there.
Depends on what the bonuses are, what's the. bonus,
Yeah.
And what do you gotta do to get the.
Yeah, I wanna
Oh, yeah.
see LED certified.
You don't need to-
right?
go ahead,
Anything like that.
I don't want a bonus.
I don't know if you need more units.
Yeah,
Well, let's read what we have proposed.
I can go through, there's 6 items currently in the list. The first is a donation to your green space preservation fund. The ordinance does not set an amount of money per unit per acre. That's for the board to do separately by resolution, so you can update it with inflation or whatever.
Probably shouldn't say.
And you obviously that would be a separate discussion. The second is on-site green space for every site. Set aside for green space, you get an extra unit per acre. And that can go, if you set aside like 3%, you get like 0.3 units per acre, so that can scale downwards too.
But a pond or wetland, does that count as green space?
No.
Because it's not buildable.
Has to be buildable area.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice buildable.
Existing, well, yes, exactly. I'm sorry.
See, and that thins out a little bit too, then thins out your overall potential residency.
Does.
Next.
Next one is home ownership. Get an additional unit per acre. For at least 50% of the dwelling units being offered for home ownership for a period of at least 5 years. And you get 2 units per acre if it's 80% of the units offered for home ownership.
Chris, can we do that because it's a voluntary incentive, not zoning as far, like,
That's correct.
okay.
Because it's voluntary incentive. It would be a 2-way agreement. Developer would sign something with you guys, and the new condo residents would be prohibited from renting their units out. And the developer, if they can't sell them, would not be able to rent them either
That's
for
what.
5 years. And I believe that it was the attorney that said he put a number on it, so it's at 5 years. And then the next one is you get an additional dwelling unit per acre if there is also commercial within the development. At a rate of 1 unit per acre per 10,000 square feet of commercial space.
do we care about that in Centennial Park?
What was the rationale? That,
Starbucks.
I'm just asking, like,
Well, I think that there was a discussion, and I think this may underline some of the concern about density, but correct me if I'm wrong, that you didn't want to create a high density area that's just all residential. That doesn't have any amenities for those residents. Everyone has to drive everywhere, and it creates a bunch of traffic headache because it's just a bunch of people live here and then they drive everywhere and it just creates traffic. And if you have something within their development that they can walk to, that's gonna reduce the number of
Oh, yeah, that
cars.
makes sense.
And remember. you
That-
have
we're back to
to-
the
so
residential
this is
one,
the
huh?
context that stars.
Yeah.
pure so,
But in this case,
with
it's
voluntary incent, with a,
as a voluntary. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be on top of, in this context, it could be a separate building, right? The commercial building's over here and residential over here, and they're just connected to each other by walkways. The next one is expanding the town pathways system.
that's a good one.
So if you expand the township's pathway system, there's a sliding scale of bonus units per acre, depending on how many connections. Or whether you create a connection, a brand new connection or something like that. Sliding scale of a 1/4 unit per acre up to 2 units per acre, depending on what exactly you provide. And the last one is if you decrease the amount of stormwater runoff off-site compared to the previous character of the site. So if you had bought one of those old office buildings that had a parking lot, tore it all down, created more green space, more permeable surface, and less water ran off, you can get more units per acre.
Larger flocks of geese.
So that's the 6.
I could go.
Can we shoot the
I could go
I think
more.
under this system,
Yes.
No, I'm not.
without doing a whole lot of analysis, it would be hard to get 8 bonus points in this system without spending a lot of money on the green space preservation fund, and that'll even depend on how much you guys are selling that density for.
Maybe we need to entice them to build or reconstruct more pathway for us.
So 4 to 16 is what you're thinking, T?
I think 4 is too low.
It was 6 to 14.
All right, sorry, got that inversed. All right, so 6 to 14, that's what Timmy's proposing.
I threw that number out.
So do you get,
Thought it'd be easier for him to accept.
is that you start at 6 and without bonuses, and to get to 7, you have to do a bonus?
That's what Timmy's proposal is, I think. Right? I don't know if the word.
Say that proposal again, because I don't remember making.
6 to 14, so 6 without bonus points, up to 14 with bonus points.
I can see that.
I propose 8
I don't see that.
as the starting point.
So we have Timmy at 6, Grace at 8.
You could go 8 to
Starting point is
14.
6.
For the benefit of the township, increase or making it 6 to 14 would benefit the township in the long run.
Unless
Because
you can't
the
get to.
pathways, water retention, unless you can get.
At some point in the future, the economics will, I would think.
prove it out.
that-
And so we're saying that number of what, 6?
To 14.
6 to 14, which means they're almost been guaranteed by some bonus points.
And that's saying that, knowing that right now we're at 12 and we're not getting any bites.
That's not our problem.
You wanna make.
It will be when we're done with this. It
You wanna
will
make
be
the
our-
first number higher?
Yeah.
What?
That's what we were talking, or what she had said, I guess. Is
What,
that we
like
want
8 or
Making the
10?
first number a higher number that's lower than the current, but then it gives somebody more of an incentive that it's attainable to get to the 14, whereas right now, I don't know how it's gonna be attainable to get 8 bonus points. 8.
I think 6
Well,
is
nobody
so
would do
low.
anything at 8 because they're not doing anything at 12.
Right.
Then why did we do say 6? Literally, Scott, you say like,
I
well, then
don't-
I want to incentivize them with 6. Like, that's not even a carrot. That's not even the leaf of a carrot. That's like a
I
freaking,
was thinking more on the 14.
That's a
I would thought
stone
more about
when you're
the
hungry.
14 than the 6.
I'm more for 14.
They won't.
Timmy, Timmy.
Who else is on board with Timmy's proposition?
What was it again?
6 to 14 bonus points.
I'm not, because I think 6 is laughable.
I think it's too low.
So Grace and Wendy don't like it, Sue?
I like it.
I think it should be higher too. Now knowing all this stuff that
Sure.
background and context and what Jade said as well, that gives me more understanding of this whole thing and the trade-off you're gonna make with your green, your rural and all that. So I think you should go maybe like 10 to 14 or 10 to 16.
That's not what's on the table.
I would second that.
He asked for her opinion. though.
Yeah,
He didn't
my
ask
opinion.
her.
No, I
Go to 6 to 14 with bonus points.
So I'm going to reduce 10 to, what was it?
10 to 16.
10 to 16.
Consensus of.
10 to
Because
16.
12 isn't doing anything.
Amen, Sue.
Okay,
10 to 16.
Let's 10 to 16.
I like 10 to 16.
We're
10 to
gonna, it's the
16.
same votes either way.
Dude, you men are killing us. You
Yeah.
are, but
So
Please,
who wants 6 to 14?
6, you want 6.
To 14.
6 to 14.
So if you allow them bonus points up to 14, then go for it.
You guys are off the rails. You guys are literally off. You're off the rails.
Let's see what happens.
Nothing's gonna happen.
We can always revisit this. If they start to get a lot of
I
interest,
just see where you are.
he raised his hand at 6 to 14.
He didn't.
Fine.
I don't think you guys realize what you're doing.
The next one.
I think.
Next overlay is Arboretum, which does not allow, is the event
We're just
on the
hearing out.
screen, far north, which does not allow housing.
And just-
The next one after that is the also Arboretum does not allow hotels, just to be clear. The next one after that is, forgot all the information, so skip. And allows buildings up to 35 feet tall. All right, interchange, which does not allow housing, does allow hotels by special use permit, and allows buildings up to 60 feet tall. And that's the orange, darker orange on the Myers area. And then finally, Waterfall Shops, which is the darkest blue, which does not allow housing, does not allow hotels, and allows buildings to 48 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's comfortable with all of those. Okay, okay. How would the board like to proceed next?
What do you guys wanna do?
What's next on the list?
Next on my list.
It's obvious.
Next on my list.
It's obvious.
Next on my list is form-based code.
Oh,
The subcategories I have under the form-based code, are side and rear setbacks adjacent to residential, which is advocated for earlier this evening. How existing buildings are treated when they want to expand. And then I have scale and incremental development and lot sizes, though I kind of think that, well, lot sizes we sort of talked about. But that has been addressed to a significant degree by the housing density stuff. With regard to side and rear setbacks adjacent to residential, a suggested policy here might be to have a boost to the minimum setback. If you are adjacent to residential, our suggestion would be an additional 10 feet on the side and an additional 20 feet on the rear. What that's gonna do is it's gonna take some zeros on the side, 10, it's gonna take some tens and make them 20. And it's gonna, on the rear, it's gonna take some 30s and make them 50, and some zeros and make them 20. And I can go through the specifics of those districts if you want. Or you can take that in a different direction if desired.
Fine.
Comment, I'll make a comment about setbacks. On Thornap River Drive, in the subcommittee, or maybe it was our previous work session, I thought there was some discussion somewhere along the line that buildings should have a setback on one side of at least 5 feet. And it seems like right now it says no setback. Or am I reading the wrong version?
Thornapple River, it does say, just along Thornapple River Drive. It says you do not need side setback. Every other,
So-
basically any other street. you
Right,
get 5 feet.
so why is it that you don't need a setback on Thornapple River, but you do everywhere else?
So the thought process was Thornapple River was the one spot where it might be appropriate to have buildings side to side to side. There are a couple like that already in that area.
I guess that's the look I don't like, so that's in my mind why I was thinking that if you forced a set, a empty space, at least on one side of the lot, then that. I saw that picture of the Hudsonville building and made me think twice about that, honestly. Break it up a little
Is
bit.
that consensus? Right now, just to be clear, in the village core area, which is Thornapple River Drive and Cascade Road between Old 28th and the river. There is a 5-foot side setback minimum and a 30-foot side setback maximum. Except up Thornapple River Drive, where it's a 0 allowance and a 30-foot maximum. And most of those lots can't get to 30 feet, side setback. And there is no special allowance if you're next to residential.
So you're saying the setback.
So when you say thrown up River Drive, are you talking about
Like
east,
shop.
east of Cascade Road?
Yeah, north, south, east, west are tough there, but yeah, the direction away from Tassel Park.
Okay,
It doesn't go that far, right? It's,
Right.
No, and actually it
The
goes
tiny
less
little-
far than it did an hour ago.
yeah, which I don't know.
And then our suggestion is that.
I like how we
the
have it.
Last lot that's in form-based code, that it would have a 20-foot setback requirement from the residential next to it. But only that lot would be subject to that.
I don't mind the 0
No, I think it's fine. They're appropriate.
there,
Then
yeah.
move forward. Keep going.
You don't like the 0?
I just thought that, I guess what I'm envisioning is somebody comes in and they buy all those lots on Thornapple River Drive and they combine them into one parcel and they build a building that's, really, really long. It'd be nice to, but I guess if you combined them all, it wouldn't matter. So
Wait,
it's, so
but
I'm
Chris,
leaving
can
it
you
alone.
have that?
I'm leaving it
So
alone.
that
That
is a
material.
good segue to something we need to discuss next. And we may have actually figured out a resolution to it earlier this evening. right now, in the current draft, you're not allowed to create any lots smaller than half an acre, any new lots in the village smaller than half an acre.
As it
But-
currently, as the
But
zoning
there's no,
currently.
but yeah, but there's no limitation on combining lots. Previously, the subcommittee talked about, limitation on combining lots, so you can't create any new lot bigger than 2 acres.
So if you had 8 small lots all lined up, you could have, you basically would have a village front.
Like a Hudsonville building?
Like you said,
Yeah. And that's why I was advocating for the 5 feet on at least one side, because then you can't have more than,
So that would break it up a little bit.
I would break it up a little bit, 5
Yeah.
feet. That's all I was advocating for.
I support that.
But that was the idea behind it. I thought we had talked about that before, but maybe not.
We
When we did the rest of the village, just not on
The
Thornapple.
rest of the village is
Right.
5 feet, yeah.
So was the reasoning to not do it on Thornapple River because the lots are all small and tiny?
Yes, exactly, and the,
Okay.
and I said the rest of the village is 5 feet, I misspoke, the rest of the village core district is 5 feet, the rest of the village is 10 feet, both sides, you know.
Oh, we can try it and see how it works. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna hold out because of that 5 feet.
That's not your line in the sand.
It's not my line of the.
Is there consensus on the board to put a maximum lot size that doesn't, because otherwise developers can eliminate these side lot lines, then we can't require a setback
In that village area, but we're
in the
looking for,
village area.
I would be good with that.
Okay, so that, I believe that was 2 acres previously. So is there consensus that we should keep that? So the lot split, no one wanted to split or combine lots in the village, based on our last 2 discussions. You can't go any smaller than 1 acre, you can't go any bigger than 2 acres.
wait, I thought you said they were half acre.
Yeah.
Half acre?
That's what
You said they were currently half acre lots.
Yes, there's also a sentence in here covering the existing ones. So the existing thing says if you have more than 4,000 square feet, which is actually way smaller than what we have, then you can build a building. And you are not non-conforming and you can do what you need to do, but you cannot split that lot.
Okay,
And if you have 1.5 acres, you can't split that lot into 3.5s, which goes to the housing density point. This is what you guys brought up before. That I have 1.5 acres. Under you guys' use system, I get 2 units per acre. That's 3 units. I get 3 units on my 1.5 acres. If we allowed the split, then I'd go 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and I get 2 units on each of those, and that's 6.
Because we eliminated.
I thought we eliminated.
Except, no, that's your point, except that you changed that. So if I went to 0.5, now I get 1, 1, 1, and I'm at 3 again. So I guess maybe we can get rid of that.
Yeah, that seems to be.
We can make the split smaller.
yes.
But we are gonna have the maximum as well. Okay.
Just brought up a point earlier about lot sizes, that made me think like in the R1 district, we went from 40 to 43,000 to 60. To make it to round it off to 1 acre, and then does that create a bunch of non-conformities for such a small change? Does it make sense to do that?
If we have to look into how many.
Yeah, they were gonna get back with that data.
Does it matter though? Because
I don't love a bunch of non-conforming houses.
I don't see a reason to create them if they're
Not necessarily.
wrong. I think the idea before was we looked at it and we're like, well, this is dumb, it should just be 1 acre, because it was like.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the added language to the. Thing that says if it's under that, the proposed, it's gonna be continued and built prior to the date, it's considered conforming.
Yes.
We're not, I don't think we're defining it.
I think I
So
saw
if they
it.
tear it down, they can rebuild something on
Correct.
less than an acre.
Correct,
They just can't split it that way.
correct. So it's really a matter of if you can.
So what are we limiting their rights to? Because right now they're conforming, and maybe there's not a lot of them in this move. That's why I was asking for the data. But I would love to understand what rights we are taking away from them by making it small or making it, yeah. If we're not taking any rights away, then makes sense, go. I'm not expecting that answer tonight,
No.
but it's a two-part question. Like, how many of them are there? And what are they losing by us passing this?
Yeah.
And if it's nothing, that's fine, Andrea. Like, I just want to understand it. And how do we modify it to make it nothing if we so want to do that?
So they preserve their rights.
There we go.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Oh.
again, when we come down to allowed uses and density, taking away their rights by allowing yet less on their property.
Yeah, let's just get those two answered.
It's being recorded.
It is.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah, for better.
Hang on, are you gonna leave? It's not, if you're gonna leave.
Yeah.
It's being recorded.
I'm just thinking, both,
Can you, we're just curious, do you want to say who you are, just out of total curiosity?
So.
I'm just curious, can you say, you don't have to, but I'm so curious if you're like, here for a company or like landowner?
yeah, I mean, I work with the Grand Rapids, so these realtors for our.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No, I just, we feel the number of questions. So.
No, we appreciate you, I was just curious.
We'll be done in 3 hours, so.
No, you don't have to, it'll be recorded
Yeah.
and up soon, I just can't remember if it's a couple days or so, you,
This is all, it's gonna take a while. Unfortunately, it'll be up probably Wednesday.
what's today?
Monday.
Right now, it's Monday.
Yeah. Keep going.
Probably won't end until Tuesday, so.
Oh, let's hope not.
It's funny, you two, the two that are left, you got no qualm, we got no beef with you guys, like, you're easy, you're low maintenance. Which is fun.
Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you can watch it on Wednesday, maybe Thursday.
This is last Thursday.
Possibly. Well, yeah, it's all recorded.
It doesn't work, but that's.
Hi, Julie.
Yeah, I will. Work right out better.
Mhm.
Lots.
Thanks for coming.
Lots in our water. Okay, actually, trustee Nordic, do you have more on the form-based code you wanted to talk about? We alluded to that earlier.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be popular for saying this. How much have we talked to the owners of the businesses in 28th about the form-based code?
I can give you an example.
Yeah, no, I'm not. This is a trick question.
No. So one of the owners who has been vocal at a public meeting about where am I left in this current owner? When we had a developer day, they were chomping at the bit to get into Cascade Township. This is before Jane and Andrea were here. Ran out and talked, like looking, like was excited about it for the resale opportunity. And then the public comment said one thing, like, I'm just afraid there's not a spot for me, and then called me on my cell twice because I didn't call him back soon enough within 24 hours to talk about how he's happy to be the first one for, and if we had developers that were interested to steer him his way.
I've heard some of that too, by the way.
Jade, have you?
We can add some context. Well, we currently have one active business that we've been working off the draft in regards to redoing his entire building with a large addition. Our chair of the.
He's not really old 28th Street, he's Cascade Road, so
Oh,
I'm asking.
Well, the
specifically.
form-based code, okay, I thought.
No, I was very specific about old 28th Street.
No,
Well, no, I take that back. Well, the, she's not listening.
I'm listening.
The, that's just off, who's the?
Yeah. that's
Yes,
what
the
we
brick
got
one,
right
yep.
here.
There's a, well, not the property next door here.
Husband and wife.
Yeah.
That's how, that's how it's 28th either.
All right.
we had good talks with
These
them.
guys, these guys.
And before anything was even on paper, they didn't have the actual form base that's in this, but, the law office that was just rebuilt.
Mhm.
Went through multiple iterations of their facade and, ignoring what they closed.
And
Yeah.
for existing property owners, that 50% match on facade improvements, we're super fortunate that we can offer that.
Is that a guaranteed match on that, or do they have to?
I mean, you have to qualify to
Yeah.
you don't get to do whatever you want.
Sure.
I mean, is there any provision we can put in that this would make me a lot more comfortable with it? And again, may not make me popular, but if this auto shop is going to expand by X%, can we give them a waiver in the short term where they won't have to comply with the form-based code? I'm
I
thinking of
think for
like,
the sake of treating everyone the same, that is totally not fair in my.
I'm saying anybody on Old 28th Street,
He's just using it as an example.
I'm using that as an example.
He's saying like if it's a 10%.
I'm saying if it's a 30%, that's where I would start, but like,
I have an example, or actually, several examples that are very similar of, language used in other communities and form-based codes about, existing businesses. And, what they are and are not required to do, and it is less strict than what you guys have right now. Right now, what you have is that they are not required to meet the maximum setbacks, so they don't have to like their wall close to the street or something like that, but they do have to meet all the required architectural standards to the extent determined practical by the planning commission. That's what it says right now. So there's a little wiggle room there, but not a lot. There are other communities that simply say things like, you have to have a front door, you have to have windows in the front. You have to use certain building materials, and then that's it. So it's not nothing, but it's not, you have to turn your house and you have to turn your business into something.
I just like, I'm thinking of JT,
Moves
they
in that
wanna
direction.
add on to the dining room in the back. You know, right now, they would have to completely redo their facade. As I read it, is that not accurate?
No, I mean, you would have to, if you
No.
expand, the section that you expand has to be compliant.
Got it.
Now, would that
Not
be a little
both.
bit weird, potentially?
Yeah, I was gonna
We would
say,
bring
that's not
them
gonna
to
match.
the- Yeah, it would come through the village design review committee and we would work with them.
Will they get it right?
Yeah, this is section 8.5, by the way, if anyone's. You know. The building materials requirement,
The section that they expand,
yeah, but not.
this here design of the building must be brought to compliance with the requirements of the section 4 to the extent determined by the planning commission, the applicant shall select the architectural design option based on the requirements of section 8.4.
So doesn't that basically say they have to redo the building?
It does, yeah.
And you couldn't, any
So-
building
There you
material,
go.
building
That's
must.
my
be-
issue.
So any new building material added to the building must comply with section 8.4C.
What if you're not changing your footprint?
I think his question is changing your footprint.
Add again to the building.
Yeah,
This kicks in when you change your footprint. Not when you,
So what happens when the building burns down and they could rebuild to the footprint of the old building, is what we said earlier. But what happens when the footprint of the old building doesn't match the current setbacks? So we're automatically then forcing them to change the footprint. Is that, I mean, is
Yeah,
that a
that's-
possibility or is there a,
With your grandfather then,
well, how,
because this is not, this.
but now's the time to do that if that's what we want to do.
and, right,
Even honestly, from as written, from an architectural standpoint, if your building burns down, you're considered new construction, you have to comply with everything.
that's what happened in the law, but.
Yeah,
oh,
And that's like, again, my office is on Old 28th Street, so I'm pretty sensitive to it. And I don't know if some of those businesses would be able to do that with the new form-based code.
As an example, JT's would lose their parking lot.
Yeah, or
any permanent demolition.
Cascade Automotive, I mean, can you imagine? So is there a compromise that we can do for these current businesses?
And don't we just add to the section of non-conforming uses that non-conforming situations in the village district may be reestablished with,
As long as the
Existing
use is
building.
continuing,
yeah.
right? Because I mean, we know what the uses are.
Yeah.
So if one of those buildings like Cascade Automotive burned down
Yeah.
tomorrow, okay, we're not saying that, Joe's Tire can move in and build an auto repair. But we're saying that if Cascade Automotive wants to continue their use, they've got, I think it was 6 months to come up with a plan on how they're gonna come back.
so then they do have to build it through the form-based code?
No, I'm saying
That's-
it wouldn't, and that's.
They would.
It's written, they say they would.
This is a
But wait.
very narrow possibility of what might.
But if you say you do get say you burn down and then they wanna rebuild. Fair enough, but then
But you and I are paying.
I don't think you should get to rebuild 30% larger. This might not be what you're saying.
No, it's not. They're two different
Okay.
examples.
We're talking about, do they have to build to form base?
And expansion rates, I mean, that can be reasonable because I think a lot of those buildings are at their maximum slot, so that would be good data to have, but. Like, I can only think of two that have the space to expand, so maybe it's not a big deal, right?
I think if anybody expanded to be to go up to add the 2 units above them.
Yeah, but if the thing burned down, I have trouble with a current business that is there under a current use.
Yeah, if it burns.
Yeah, forcing them to follow the new form-based code.
I agree with you.
Just wanna make sure we word it
Yeah,
narrowly.
I think
enough
there's a
that-
compromise to be had to get this there. Well, assuming you all agree with that, but
What if they're doing voluntary redevelopment?
Then I don't think it should apply.
Yeah, voluntary
So I
redevelopment.
think, I think that we need to run this by legal.
Yep.
Wait, so
I'm not comfortable saying if we were neighbors and your building burns down, and you don't have to comply with the form-based code, but I wanna go invest money. And redo my building or expand it by a percentage of the footprint, and I do have to comply. And I don't, and I may be overthinking it, I just wanna make sure that we're not.
And what if it burns down, but then they sell?
that's different use.
Right.
So you're telling me if Cascade Automotive, Jeff Rivas building burned down, he can't build it back
He's not-
exactly the way it
He's not
is?
conforming. He can't even be there.
I think right now.
I mean, if you use the same footprint.
Built 2 parcels anyway. I think almost every single one of these parcels is non-conforming. We have so many buildings in that section that like,
That's my
I don't
concern.
even know what, like.
He's out if it burns down.
Well, has he been out since 2011 under our current zoning?
Yeah.
Just didn't realize it.
And they're, well.
No, I'm
That's
saying,
being on-
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 issues, right? Like, how do we protect these businesses in case of disaster? So that they can rebuild at a reasonable rate and still be allowed to be there.
Well, they're guaranteed to be able to go back in as an auto repair, provided they have their permits pulled within 6 months.
But then they gotta follow the
They'd have to
form-based
follow
code,
the form-based
which is gonna be a 2 to 3x what they paid for the current construction.
Right.
And these small businesses, they
Can't-
can't afford that.
You're forcing them out.
That's exactly what they're worried about.
And we don't want that to happen.
No.
But then, but again, the footprint stays the same, right?
Yeah, say his building burns
But
down.
you
he
can't
wants to
use
build
a-
it exactly the
Yeah,
same size.
I had a question about expansion, which I didn't table that, but.
Mm-hmm. 50%.
And setback.
So the facade grant would work if it was a blank slate and you're building a new building.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought that was only for.
Well, but if it
But
burns, sorry.
it's 50/50. I mean,
Yeah.
what if it costs less to rebuild it exactly how it was?
Right.
Even with the facade grant, like, I don't feel like we should force them to do that.
The facade grant's not gonna even touch.
No.
Construction.
That's my
so
point.
Just to be real.
And you all chose great materials, right? But they're not gonna be the materials that are currently there.
I think we have to make sure that we protect our current businesses and business owners in the event of a loss that they didn't,
Yeah.
Yeah,
didn't
you just don't
expect.
want to also then create a loophole, but I agree.
Correct, but we at the same time need to find a way, and so maybe the right thing to do is have Jade bounce this off legal and then report back to us, because
Are
we
we-
could all ponder this for an hour.
Right, I mean,
If we all
is that
agree,
reasonable? Is it reasonable we're gonna get this answer by Wednesday? And we're in such a rush to vote on this on
We're
Wednesday.
not in a rush.
Well, then-
Wednesday is just the presentation of the board.
No, we still have to, we have to vote. There's a yes or a no coming from us on this on Wednesday.
So.
I don't
in
think
talking
we're
to
ready for that.
legal-
I don't think we're ready for it either.
It's another 400 pages to read.
Yeah.
No, you had plenty of, no, it's not that. It's that you can have legitimate disagreements and a lack of consensus, but it's not because you just got the documents and it's too much to read.
I think if we're not in a rush, we can put it off a couple of weeks. To the next following board.
Yeah, but we gotta have movement in the meantime.
Well, we need another meeting to finish this.
Preferably one with food if we're gonna have it. this long.
But then do you have to feed the public too?
We can bring our own food, that'd
Yeah.
be fine, I just would like to prepare for that.
I don't think it's a big deal to feed the public, there's a lot.
I'm fine with feeding in public too, they're gonna be here that.
And we'll feed them at this time.
Yeah, JT's.
Right?
Potluck, bring your own.
Alright,
I don't know if they left happy.
was there consensus there? We should draft some language allowing non-conformities to rebuild without any architectural standards?
Yes. As long as the ownership is the same and the business use is the same,
And they wanna build it the same.
you don't get to rebuild your auto repair to become a gumball factory.
Is there consensus to delay this a few weeks?
By me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
Yeah. Instead, because, well, right,
That's all
They
I
gotta
have.
come back with yet another draft now. We've made a lot of changes.
yeah, but, well, we decide. That's not only the current residents, but everything in the future.
absolutely.
So I'm fine with playing it for a couple weeks
In business. And we.
and run it by the legal
I
people.
mean, we gave Chris a lot of homework and Andrea
Ownership.
and Nick.
What's that?
We gave you a lot of homework tonight.
What about the, you were talking about farm explode in the village. Do you have anything else on Old 28th Street or are you?
No, that was my concern, I know you've got a lot, yeah.
No, I don't. I crossed off a lot of stuff on the list.
Good.
As we're talking. How about setbacks on Cascade Road in the village? I spent some time last week and a couple other communities walking down the road and I feel like. I think we landed at 4 feet and I feel like we should be at 10, but that's
For sidewalk?
the distance between the building and the right of way or the sidewalk
For new building.
for new building.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, 10.
You know, I look at the roadhouse, it's at like 12 or 16 feet, I think, and I think that's close enough.
I have to go back to what I'm saying, because I still don't. I've never heard of something like what I'm asking you, so can you please tell me again what I'm.
I'd be happy to join you on the call with
I
them.
just need to know what it was, that I can ask them. So it's same owner,
Same use.
same use.
No,
Same owner and same.
same owner, it's gotta be same owner.
I don't know that we can dictate owner.
Let him decide that. That's.
Usually
It needs to be limited.
Usually non-conforming uses go with use. So if you're an auto repair business, you want to sell someone else to do auto repair, it still counts for them.
Yeah,
That's how non-conforming usually works.
right.
Tuffy was at that point at one time, did the Tuffy, Bobby wanted to extend that to the Tuffy Corporation? And they said no.
That was because we owned it. That was an extension of a lease.
Right.
So it's totally, yeah, it's different.
He would have been able to do that, it's just that he chose instead to voluntarily sell.
Does that answer, Jake?
We're talking about something that doesn't, you're changing the footprint, because if they build it back, same footprint, they can rebuild their non-conforming. So.
Right now,
if
as we
it's
have it,
6
correct?
now,
Yeah.
I'd argue that we
Okay,
make it
no.
clear whether they apply their architectural standards, even if the actual massing and size
Yeah.
and shape of those are identical. Do we need to do the building materials? We have to clarify that one way or the other.
They have a 3,000 square foot box and they want to build a new 3,000 square foot box.
Yeah.
They might have to move over a little for a setback or something, but it's physically the same size and shape.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
So my question was on Cascade Road setbacks, you know, we bounced all over on that, and I think the subcommittee ended up at like 4 feet, I think, which is what we've got right now, but I'm looking at Cascade Road in the village, and I'm thinking 4 feet is too close. I like 10 feet. That, you know, I think the barber shop and the roadhouse are about as close as I'd like to see things.
What are they at? Do we know?
I think I measured and I thought the closest spot I could find, and I didn't go out there with the tape measure, I measured online.
We discussed this at the thumb committee, I know, at length.
I thought it was 16 feet, I thought, maybe it was 12, I don't remember.
There was some discussion when they wanted to add that patio on the front of the roadhouse.
Yeah.
You had to get some exceptions.
4 feet's not.
They're about 15 feet.
So maybe it's 15 feet the better number, so it's more like the roadhouse and the barber shop.
No, what did the planning commission just approved? Yeah.
As we see it.
Or
Why did they approve that?
they didn't,
That
they approved it with the contingency that the zoning ordinance was adopted or that she would go and get a variance.
So then he can get a variance or that.
And it is updating construction, it's not new construction, does that make a difference?
He's basically.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole idea, not that it matters at all, because this is obviously been talked about, but everybody wants traffic to slow down on Cascade Road. So the idea between the subcommittee was moving buildings closer to a road reduces traffic in general, because there's nothing else we can do, so. I
Because
don't
it
know
gives
why.
you the sense that the
Yes.
building is closer.
Right,
Yes.
it's the whole thing that I feel like a lot of this was discussed about the strategic plan and what the residents wanted, but it doesn't matter. 'Cause
And it gives you guys that, it gives the area more of that village feel, because not in isolation, you can't have. It's combined with the form-based code, other requirements, so that it kind of has like a cohesive look, buildings to scale, you can't just move it and have like.
Well, we also want pedestrians to feel comfortable walking down the road, and I think when the buildings are right on the sidewalk and you've got 45-mile-an-hour traffic on the other side of you, that doesn't create a.
It's a good.
The sidewalks, well, come out, the sidewalk doesn't move, right, does it?
The sidewalk doesn't move, but I'm saying if the building is further from the sidewalk, you feel a lot more comfortable out there. You feel like you have a spot that, you can jump into a bush.
Yeah, but
or something.
do you feel that way?
You get bigger trees out there.
Just to bring, I'm sure that you look at it, but that's the minimum, because there is that maximum.
You're right. You're right.
So they do have options.
And it applies to a very small area of
So if,
Cascade.
if I.
I'd like to see 10 feet on Cascade Road.
We're just widening the bridge for pedestrians, so it wasn't so close to traffic.
Right. I think this is more.
They're still right next to traffic.
What's that?
They're actually closer.
They
You
are.
build a barrier.
So are the streets that we
But
reflect.
you're not gonna have a
You
barrier.
got little kids riding their bikes down there, you got 4 feet.
It's just creating a false
It's the sense that you're
false sense of
protected.
safety, but it really does.
Is there consensus to increase it to 10?
No, not me, but I'm sure we'll get outvoted. Keep it how we had it.
It's currently minimum 3, maximum 25.
Wendy, did you want to explain that again? And then
No,
number
I
three?
don't. There's already been decisions made, so
Oh,
it's 10
okay.
feet. I'm just guessing based on not even voting.
Are you comfortable with 3 feet?
What,
Are you comfortable with 3 feet?
making it minimum?
The minimum is currently, in the draft is currently 3 feet.
No,
From-
we changed it. She just changed it to 10, so it's okay.
Oh, okay.
It's okay, Scott.
The minimum is 10, the max is 25, so we're sticking with the max.
Remember, that's from the right of way.
Which is what, from what?
The middle of the road.
No, the right of way,
Sidewalk.
past the side.
Oh, you mean that?
Is it on?
You just say right it and be like, and if they want to-
I think on the state highway, to me, I think it's,
So just another, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think on the state highway, which that still is, I think the right of way is greater than a county. I think it's 66 feet from the center line.
I would bring it up then, but the barber shop pretty close.
Yeah, the barber shop.
We've got the right of way lines pretty well laid out, we've got it on a county parcel viewer, we've got them on surveys submitted by developers, we know where.
Do you know where they are now?
We know where they are, we know where they are very well for Rishi's, because that's been discussed quite a few times, and he's moved it back and forth, et cetera. We know it's big for Rishi's, it's basically where that pavement at the sidewalk ends, that's the right of way line. But to Trustee Shipley's point, the other direction, the right of way goes like halfway up the hill to Fort Bell Road. So yeah, it's wide, it's just wide, it's not, the road is in the middle of
The
it.
road is not.
It's shifted over.
So you're not gonna get that on the other side of the road.
No, it's,
They were talking about where the
Our
current,
current businesses inside of that then?
no,
Are they closed?
it narrows back down as you close to the river.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there
A lot of
are,
the old state trunk lines, you'll see that when they were developing those roads, and they, MDOT overbought, so in that MDOT is not in the habit of selling property, but they're never gonna use that property. But just Cause it was an old big drive like that.
A lot of Thornap Border Drive is not, the center line is not, the center line is
Mhm.
way off.
So Reese's is 4 feet from the,
Recent current is.
No, they're new one.
More like, no, they're proposed,
11.
their proposed was what,
Where'd you go?
yeah, their proposed is 4 feet, and then it gets to be more like 9 or 10, because the road is actually not parallel to Cascade Road.
But,
In his proposal,
and
but
he,
he would have to push it back to 10 or move it a variance if he wanted.
okay, but he made his building then voluntarily, like, the design and so much of the other parts of designing his new building were for kind of that Main Street look that, I mean, if he took his existing building, and just moved it off, I think it looked weird. I don't think the 4 feet, given all the concessions he made to go into the form-based code and have kind of traditional style, he needs that because he did all the other stuff where he's got a certain percentage of windows and he's got traditional design, he needs that 4 foot setback to make it worth it to do the redevelopment that'll look really good. If we squeeze him back to 10, his whole, like, we're gonna shoot ourselves in the foot. We're not gonna get that nice redevelopment of a downtown type building that we want. And it's not gonna change overall the safety or anything else. He needs to be able to have that.
Does it make sense to have
Or
a
else
setback
he's
being-
not gonna do it. So we're gonna have the same type of building versus you're about to get a gorgeous building because he can make sense because he needs the square footage.
So does that make sense based on what you're saying, to have an average setback?
I don't know. It makes sense
'Cause that
based on what I'm
looks
saying,
the
to give him the 4
It
feet.
does,
Generally,
except
it's
for your
whatever's
comments
closest.
about
What you
getting
back off.
squished between a building and a.
But if it's but
No,
if.
no, that was your point.
You
Yeah,
guys were
that's
talking about,
what
for
I'm saying.
adaptive, you guys were talking about, this is a perfect example of you guys were talking about, we don't want to squeeze current business owners, blah, blah, blah. We've got someone who's literally coming in to take it, is excited about it. His value of his building is gonna go up because he's doing a quality redevelopment to give you a Main Street type look, which is, I mean, and then in turn, he needs that 4 feet, because those are it doesn't apply to very many lots, and those building owners that are looking at that little spot in the village need that to make it worth it. Otherwise, they're not going to touch their buildings and it's going to stay the same, which isn't terrible, but you should see what the new one looks like. It's awesome.
One of the advantages of working with Lucy, and I don't even know him, so I'm saying this just out of common sense, is that it could be the cornerstone, the showplace.
Yes,
That
that's exactly what it is.
Sure.
No, that's 100% what it is. So if we're going to sit back and, well, it seems kind of 10, let's do 4. Like, he needs that to make the numbers work so that he can give us an absolutely beautiful building and be the catalyst for what could be. So when we're sitting back like, well, I don't think arbitrary number crunching is the way, like at
But
10.
you're saying that one corner of his building is at 4 feet and the rest of it is going
Yeah,
wider.
if you want to,
So,
but that's not, yeah.
but that's completely different than having
No,
a 4
it's
foot
not.
concrete wall or a
No,
concrete wall.
it's just the idea of us not fully being able to picture it when you, and looking at it in isolation, but when you look at what the actual form-based code demands as far as quality facades that have a timeless look and different, that are still realistic, those people, if you're gonna redevelop, you have to allow them to make it worth their while square footage wise, and if you have those same requirements and then pimp them by switching it back because it looks like how it is, you're not gonna get it. And I think that's it's penny wise, pound foolish. You're not gonna get it because we have taken so much, we've looked at it so much, so carefully with requiring a certain types of redevelopment and design elements that are classic. You've got to give them that, and you're not gonna get what you're afraid of. You're just not. I get what you're saying, but you're Rishi's building is gonna be in theory the catalyst, and it's
Yeah.
compared to what he came in with and what he left with, and the concessions that he needed was a few less parking spots, because we're a little bit over parked, and he needed the square footage. And if we do this, let's push it back to 10, because it's how it looks now, you're screwing him. You're not gonna get the redevelopment. He
So
has to have
is
it.
the total building grace 4 feet, or like, I'm trying to picture this in my mind, I'm having a difficult time with it. So the whole thing isn't in front, or?
Chris knows this, he'll
So-
explain better.
Orange Avenue and Cascade Road do not intersect at a 90-degree angle. His building comes right up the sidewalk of Orange Avenue.
Mhm.
So that wall is
Parallel to orange.
parallel to Orange.
Mhm.
His front wall is supposed to be, I think it probably already is, perpendicular to Orange, not parallel to
Oh.
Cascade.
Got
And so he's got, it's a rectangular building, but its distance from the Cascade Road right of way goes from about 4 feet to, we think it's like 10 or 11. We think it might actually hit 10 at the point where it's
Yeah.
parks. So conceivably, we could write something that says the minimum setback is whatever part of the building is farthest from the right of way. Must hit the minimum setback and you come forward if you want in other places. I guess we could write it that way.
Good.
I feel like that could potentially be abused, but if you're talking about
Yeah.
10 feet like, it's already 10 feet, like what developers can.
And the sidewalk, none of the sidewalk is gonna stay where it's at, right?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
So the
sidewalk.
whole like, idea of safety, honestly, some people just, if your car's coming and you're gonna get whacked, you're gonna get whacked regardless of the setback of the building. Cause it's not making it actually safer. So the only thing that, you literally are pretending to make it safer when you're not.
You think it'll slow traffic down?
Well, the whole point is when you squish things in and it gives that is shown statistically, it might be subtle, but that's actually shown to get kind of, and look at what we did with the bridge with the lights and the railing, the perception that it's coming in, that will actually slow traffic down. There's only so many things you can do. But if you're concerned with actual safety, oh, well, and if you're walking, that's just giving people a false sense of safety. They're gonna get killed or splattered just as bad, no matter what your setback is, but you're not gonna get the redevelopment.
Thank you for that explanation. I support it as it's written.
Especially because when you look at all the time, okay, thanks.
Yeah, just a couple of things from an economic development standpoint and from looking at traffic calming measures in other places. Putting buildings closer to roads is supposed to calm.
Yeah, 100%, just like planting trees along the road.
Anything you do, I mean, parks and other landscapings and streetscape and things like that. The other thing I just want to bring to everybody's attention is I had a conversation with the owners of Harvest Health Food months ago. Talked about the planning process and what's happening with the zoning. And they are redoing all of their stores and they are excited about the lot lines being able to come closer to Cascade Road.
Oh,
Because they want to expand that building and they know they don't have the capacity to do it in the parking lot. Their businesses.
But then the concession for that is giving them more space or less setback, meaning they get to expand their square footage. The concession is you can't have a 200-yard vinyl building either. Like it's gonna look a lot better, and that's the
I
quality.
really like the idea too of putting, like, when we talked about all of that, and like an entrance off of Cascade.
Yes.
Just the parking lot.
oh.
They were, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
nothing, they haven't submitted anything. This was conversation, but it was good conversation.
All starts with the first word.
Yeah.
This has been really good.
So with my thought.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm so excited about the form-based code. If you actually understand it and get into it, that's how but you've got to give in some areas. You can't have it.
So are we still?
We're gonna leave it at 4.
5 or are we doing 4?
I say we keep it as is. As
But-
using Rishi is the perfect example, and it also only,
Right now.
it only applies to a very few number of
Yeah.
buildings.
Sounds like we've already kind of.
Well,
made
so I
it
didn't
for
know
it.
that he had already
So,
done his plan based on that.
And he literally was like, you can make it look however you want, which it was basically the form-based code. But I need the square footage and I need an exception, meaning a couple fewer parking spaces.
Mm.
So we would kill him and we wouldn't get that.
He just told me we did that. Rishi's a good friend. He told me he don't.
He
So
told you what?
he couldn't do it if we went to that.
Oh.
so
And
we'll
then
leave
you're
it
stuck
as
with-
it's written at 4.
Yeah.
So then everything,
Yeah.
Written as 3.
or 3?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's why I just.
well, how about we move it to 4 then?
How about we just keep it as is?
It's
Keep it
fine.
as is. I think it's.
That took
You're
25
not-
minutes to
it's
figure out.
No
All right.
valuable purpose.
I-
And you're not making it safer. If anything, statistically, you're making it a little less safe.
What are we gonna do about the concrete wall in front of the bridal shop?
She's not.
I don't
She's
know.
interested. She's watching all of this. She sits on the DDA. She's very interested.
If we start chipping away at it too much, you're gonna get redevelopment. It's gonna be like an auto zone.
Yeah.
But you'll have your 15-foot setback.
Well, anyway, I'll just move on then to something not related to setbacks or form-based code. I think at the last meeting here, there was discussion about definition for kitchen. But I didn't hear if we had a definition for bathroom, and after my discussion with Andrea today, I was thinking that maybe we need to have that say anything with a toilet is a bathroom. Because I think it currently is defined as anything with a sink and a shower.
We didn't define it. It's a Webster thing, and theirs, if you look at
That's what it
Webster,
was.
it's like sink and shower.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't hurt for us to add a definition for that.
But I
That
feel like
it's a toilet.
as far as related to ADUs, accessory buildings, things like that,
Sure.
if we're saying that it's a dwelling, if it has a bathroom and kitchen, you need to define those things.
Yeah.
As to what's bathroom and what's the
Yeah.
kitchen.
Got it.
That's,
Then they don't have a bath.
Which is what we're not permit.
we don't want.
Yeah, we're not.
dwelling units, but in order to prevent,
Sure
but the
said-
problem is that right now you can build a pole barn with a toilet in it. You're going, and it's not considered a bathroom because we're not defining a bathroom. So we need to define that.
We can define, I don't think it's not the end of the world, because you would.
It would
go
probably
to
be
a
okay.
Dictionary, but it's fine.
It's a fair point, because the definition of dwelling unit is very, very important. It's how you make sure people aren't living in hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm. Which
What
is a huge issue.
What about accessory buildings?
I did have,
Need to define that.
yeah, speaking of accessory buildings. I took the information that you provided, a couple weeks ago. And I averaged it out per zoning district. And in the R2 district, the inventory of accessory buildings that we have, it's an average of 1,180 square feet. In the R1 district, they're an average of 2,998. I keep going, but farmland preservation is 1982, ARC is 2258. So I was going to propose that to be a little closer to where we are with averages, that we increase the chart in each section by 500 square feet. And then add another column for R2 zoning, which essentially mimics exactly what the existing chart is. So we wouldn't change it for R2, but for R1, farmland preservation and ARC, we would increase those by 500 feet, which I think is a little more consistent with what we have been doing historically and what we
That's our duty.
Residential, small.
The small
residential,
residential lot.
18,000 square feet.
So it would be under an acre, you'd have the way it's currently drafted, you'd have 1,000 square feet. And then, what is it, 1 to 3 acres is 1,500 square feet, and then 3 acres and is over is 2,000. I would keep exactly what we have right now for R2. I would just give the R1, the farmland preservation, and the ARC a bump of 500 square feet in each category, which still, I think, it really, in all of them, it would, what we're proposing is less than the average.
What would it bring R1 to?
Well, it's currently in there for an acre is at 1,000, so it would change it to 1,500, and then was it 3 acres would be 2,000, or yeah, 2,000, and then 3 acres and up would be 2,500 square feet.
Why is it? You just want to go a little bigger?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's more in line with what our residents have been asking for.
Is it?
So because that's what our average is.
Yeah, I'm sure that if someone comes and asks.
Oh, sorry. Anyone who's asking wants bigger anyway, so it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
It's what we've approved.
It's what we've approved.
It's the average of what we've approved.
Codify it.
I just don't want to base on stuff of what we've proved in the past.
I know, because
Because
I don't think that's, yeah, that's the hard part. is-
I think based on past precedent should mean nothing when making zoning decisions right now. Or, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I just think. You look what the ZBA did in the past,
You stated to do R1 and R2 the same, but they're 1,000 square feet apart in their average sizes right now. R1's at 1,180 and R2's at 2,198. So they're not anywhere close together. That's where the biggest difference is, which is why I set R2 to the side, because R1 buildings average are larger than in the farmland preservation district, which really surprised me.
you guys understand
There's
that
more of them in the
the
farm.
people that, what you're getting, the request to come to be the exception. You're not getting their neighbors and all the other people who aren't asking for it. If you look at
You're
that, like,
making a
well,
blanket
it's what people are asking for. It's the few people, so you're looking at skewed. You're not looking at Cascade residents as a whole. You're looking at the few who like want more, like. That'd be like, well, if you listen to the developers, questions we're getting, it's really, they want more, like, yeah, because they're coming to ask for, you're not getting I don't think the decision should be made based on what people are asking, because the people that are asking, you already got a skewed population. You're not taking into account all the other people who aren't asking or who live by them. I'm not saying this is like I'm not gonna die on the hill, but I'm just saying, be careful when you start.
Is there a negative to having larger accessory buildings that are still in line with what the average size of what we currently have is?
Depends
Yeah,
what you
we're
look
allowing,
forward with.
we're allowing larger.
Because we're already
larger
bumping it
buildings.
up.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
So you want to
negative.
bump it up a little more? I just don't understand how average, but this is, I'm not being sarcastic, I truly just, I'm not following how average is a big issue or necessary. I just don't understand, I'm just not following it.
I think that this is actually one of those things that we think makes sense, or you think makes sense in the data that you're looking at. But this is going to affect the majority of our residents if their neighbor chooses to put in an accessory building. And I think by making this bump up like that, just because they've been approved in the past, when they're approved in the past, they were noticed, they were able to voice their concern, and they were able to come and have the planning
Right.
commission and the board agree with them and say, yep, okay, your neighbors think this is okay, you can have this building. But this is making that blanket statement now and that decision to allow a larger one across a huge majority of
We're
our
already doing that.
population, and I don't think it's right.
Well, I think that's a little bit of a property rights issue, but I also
I don't
would
think
say
it is.
to the point you
Not if
just
it's
made,
a property rights
I
issue.
think the old method of doing it was better for the neighbors, because you got feedback and buy-in from everybody. They knew that the guy down the street wants to build a building, and they could come in and say to the
Wait,
planning
but Scott, you're
commission.
asking us.
But you're asking us
saying
not to do
bump it a
that,
little bit
to
more.
bump it up so we don't
That's
hear
like
that
the
feedback.
opposite.
is what
No,
you're
I'm
saying.
saying I like.
Yeah,
but
by right.
what I was under the understanding, the impression of, is that this was the end all. It's 1,000 square feet, and it doesn't, you don't get to come in the way you used to. You still get to come in and apply the way you did.
That's a totally different standard than the planning commission. I mean, the ZBA is.
But the way you guys have been doing it in the past.
It's
Cascade
not
did it,
normal
is-
across,
is weird.
across
Like,
communities.
you guys have-
Understand, but I think
No, no,
it's better
you
for
don't-
the neighbors.
No, because the
The neighbors would still
process,
get noticed.
yeah,
Yes,
And
it's the
it's-
same process, it just goes
Yeah,
to the
but-
correct.
it gave a
board
false,
versus
it should never have, the
planning
weird,
commission.
the fact.
Beyond a reasonable doubt from a preponderance of evidence, like they're two different.
I don't follow that.
Come on, you do.
No,
Like,
I
it-
literally
it-
don't.
the
When I
planning
read
commission-
it again,
The planning
no.
commission standard is so
Oh,
much.
Yeah, but here's the problem. You should never, it was weird and bizarre that we even had it go through the planning commission, and it was,
But where is
came
the
to
cause of the
default-
problem?
so I don't want to, like, if you're, it should be, the normal way is to go to the ZBA. The whole way we did it was they,
If 99% of the communities have it go through a ZBA and we didn't, it went to the planning commission and was all based on a previous planning director's recommendation mostly.
I think that was well ahead of him, but I hear you. I just, all Scott is saying is
You
we
hear
should
me, but
align
you
it to
didn't
the
finish
act.
my
Fair enough. I
No,
apologize.
Go ahead.
No,
This is exactly how this meeting's going.
I don't know. I just don't care about I think we put a lot of thought into it before, and I don't know. I think it's not a huge deal, but we're already up in it. And I think that's a huge topic.
May I mention something? So we have less than 1 acre. Now we're changing the acre, but right now, the standard for an R1 lot is less than an acre. So you could have a lot, a 40,000 square foot lot that has a house, their driveway, an a detached private garage, and then a 1,500 square foot building on a 1 acre lot. Like that's a lot.
That's why.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah, I
anyone's
mean-
hurting for,
You guys can make whatever decision you want, but when I was.
But what
trying to-
about the guy that has 3 acres?
Yeah, we have a chart for 3 acres, but to bump up the person that's less than an acre by 500.
That was the
square feet by
idea of the chart,
2/3.
was that
Yeah.
it tiers with the larger
Yeah.
lot to allows for a larger building.
That makes
I
sense.
mean,
Do you think that it tiers adequately as the acreage increases?
That's
I
something
do.
we would have,
Well, just
it
so-
seems like it, but it's something that's gonna have to.
When we
play
have
out.
average buildings that are around, 2,000 square feet, it seems to me that if at an acre, you're right, that's a lot, but
But even at an acre, because the second step is actually 1 acre, but less than 3. So even at an acre, with what you're suggesting, we're gonna bump that up to 2,000.
which
So-
is in line with our average.
So the chart,
An
it
average.
actually,
An average,
That's
but
not
do you
the
have the
average,
average
though.
lot size if those were put?
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're
Because
saying.
that's the difference. I mean, nobody that lives on 1 acre lots next to a bunch of people living on 1 acre lots wants to see a 2,000 square foot accessory building thrown in their backyard.
But everyone wants to build one.
Potential,
Plus the other
Yeah.
buildings.
Yeah.
So where are we at 3 acres and above? Right, 2,000.
2,000 here, but 2,500 with your recommendation.
I like the 2,000.
And then 6 acres and more is 3,000 square feet.
Don't make it.
Keep it the way it is.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
If you have to do that, you have too much done.
Yeah, literally do a garage. sale.
You think?
We'll drop off my application tomorrow.
Perfect, there you go.
Tomorrow.
There's the compromise. Okay, what else do we have?
I
Anything?
think Scott hasn't finished his list.
Oh.
No,
sorry, go
I
ahead.
have.
Oh,
We
good.
we had done another item on accessories, accessory buildings, well, actually two. One was, right now in the draft ordinance, you can only build an accessory building in the front yard if you are on a waterfront of the river. And that's because your waterfront, your back is highly restricted in what you can do as far as accessory buildings. It also says that while ZBA can allow front yard accessory buildings, it is not permitted to allow accessory buildings that are front or closer to the road than the minimum front setback for a house. So your house has to be far enough back to fit an accessory building and the whole required setback in front of it in order to get a ZBA.
That's a total for that.
So we had advocacy about someone who's gonna have a hard time fitting something in their backyard to wetlands and easements. Oh, I want to bring it up.
I think that's reasonable.
Okay, like consensus? Okay, so the ZBA will have that power over the restriction. And then there was a question about accessory dwelling units at some point, those are banned,
Good.
so.
Yeah, we don't want to
Simple
open
as
that can of worms.
That concludes my list.
We're gonna get pounded pretty soon in future meetings, just. As well flush it out, I guess. The one thing we didn't get to tonight, which I'm not saying, at some point would be helpful, I know you guys had prepared. Pictures and comparisons of what you could, what would be allowed to be developed, say, for example, in the village area right now. And worst case scenario, what it would be under the proposed changes. At some point, it'd be maybe helpful, to just have the visuals, but
Yeah.
not tonight.
the two, we probably can handle this really quickly. Article 1, we just want to add a repealer. That just like I said, you should add this language. So you'll see a quick change as
Repeal.
described in the memo.
Private streets and stuff.
Oh,
No, repealing the current ordinance.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
that we got another,
Well,
yeah. Any ordinance in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed to the
Yeah.
extent necessary, blah, blah, blah. Then it's in.
okay.
I say blah, blah, blah. It's very important language. It's been drafted by our attorneys. Then you have alternate Article 8. Do you want to just give feedback? Like, yes, we saw this and we agree with adding the other buildings, or do you want to plan another work session to go through that?
This is the form-based code. We received the
Oh.
Victorian last week.
And then-
So,
Yeah.
Chris,
So-
they came up with a different. Actually,
Cottage.
Michelle
So we
Kalila,
just added to.
the chair of the DDA, actually had some good
Yeah.
thoughts, and so they added, the colonial and cottage.
Which are actually good for Cascade, we
Yeah.
kind of have that,
Street.
Yeah. and they're not super expensive compared to. They're kind of a simple,
You all have that in front of you. We would add cottage, colonial, revival.
so that's
And
in
festival
addition to.
style. Yeah, so we keep the same rules, but we add 3 different building types with similar but slightly different requirements. So some of them, probably would be beneficial to add, something with, wood or wood composite,
What are you talking, Andrew, you lost me.
sorry, colonial or cottage.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
It'd be a little bit more affordable building materials, but still really high quality design. So if you all have kind of at least had a chance to look at this, we can just integrate that language into the zoning ordinance as presented to the board on Wednesday.
Well, we just said we're postponing it.
Or
So
you're just gonna table the whole thing? Or
that was my understanding.
yeah, I missed that. Okay.
So when is that gonna happen?
So next
So
steps-
we.
I don't think we decided
Good,
anything.
and the agenda.
But then how do we keep this moving forward? Another work session?
I'd have one more work session to
Yeah.
review our reviews.
Absolutely.
Then do we need, does it help since it's on? Go ahead, sorry, Andrew.
No, I'm gonna integrate this into the next version then, if that is okay, if the board has had time to look at this and just.
Mhm.
The last item in the packet that was given to you on Friday is Article 14. Betsy Nordhook had spent some time working with Manager Smith,
Order.
Nordike, sorry. I should have just looked. Sorry. On some language, because of this concern about the administrative review. So we've updated that language with a proposal to remove administrative planned unit development. There's no administrative changes to planned unit development. So they'll be going to the planning commission and to the board for any changes. There's no minor planned unit development changes.
And Chris, you're good with the proposed changes?
Yeah, you were there before me. Were you good with it too? I know Jay said he went through it with you too. Was there anything that you saw from our time on the planning commission that caught you or concerned you with it?
No,
Okay.
and he didn't actually go through it with me. I think he sent me. Yes.
Yeah, but nothing, no, you're on the planning commission now, like what, it puts a little
I
bit
think it's-
onus, but it takes it off staff.
Well, and I think the big thing is the verbiage within the zoning document. When it talks about like, planning approval,
Yeah.
like for an example. If I wanted to have chickens in my yard, I have to call and get a planning review, or it's labeled something. And I think that phrase that it's worded was the same wording that was previously used for the planning director to make approvals of things that were
Right.
not
Zoning.
or not in the zoning. Whereas that's not what it is now. Now that phrase is actually used to ask you the question, can I do this or can I not do this based on the zoning?
Mhm.
And I think that's the biggest difference compared to, it's the wording that's used and the wording that was used in the past, maybe was not used.
Agreed, and I think the way that zoning review is defined now aligns to exactly what you're saying. And I think by removing the planning or the minor amendment to a PUD got us into trouble at Round Hill, and that's gone. We are no longer capable of getting that.
Like, yeah, and I
Well,
think
you
there's
also
more
touched
pieces,
that.
yeah, well, and I
Yeah.
think there's more pieces to that. Ones that's not to do with the zoning, it just has to do with internal processes and things.
Which
to
is
do
a
with what
really
happened,
big-
Which was really a problem with Round Hill, and there's still, I think, some questions just following up to make sure some things are being done, but that's not what to talk about. right
Yeah,
Yeah. But we've seen huge progress in that area, internal administrative processes.
Mhm.
Like using software equipment that's available that just
Yeah.
wasn't being used.
But we just, there's a couple examples that I know have happened. I just want to go through the full process to make sure it's. Right.
Okay, so agenda for Wednesday's regularly scheduled board meeting.
We have two options.
Mhm.
One, we can amend the agenda tomorrow and remove it. Or two, we can leave it and then you guys can take a look.
I would like to leave it and table it. That way we get transparency.
And it gives the public the opportunity to comment on it at the board
Absolutely.
meeting, and I think we're gonna get some.
And the correct term is postpone, because we're moving it to another meeting.
Oh,
Tabling it is when you're moving it to later in that meeting. Postponing is when you're moving it to a later date.
You sound like a clerk.
yeah. Saying-
do we have to have an established date when we postpone it to?
No.
Okay.
A future meeting or a subsequent meeting.
Okay,
You need a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I think we gonna do public comment, weren't we?
yeah.
Oh,
Do
okay.
that.
I think
Do we have
that-
anybody virtually right now?
Did it
Nick?
with,
Are you present?
That's just me.
You can't throw anything, you can only use your words.
I'm not sure the end is public comment.
Huh?
You guys do?
We're just throwing an add on if you want to say, just giving people opportunity. Who were lucky, who were kind enough
Sounds good.
to listen to it all.
Came back, you know, so into the law. I'm John Hallen.
I live at 3059 Thorn Crest. Just moved into the township in, November, built, I came down that little ranch. 2 houses from the dam. I built that modern looking thing, if you've been down Thorn Crest. That's kind of my neighbor.
Down there a few times.
But, I've been doing this, I've been a developer 30 years. All on Forest Hills schools, so I'm very familiar with ADAs. Zoning ordinance, Fairhaven Township and Cascades. And, Kentwood a little bit, because, there's a little bit of Forest Hills in Kentwood. But, it sounds like to me, and I was getting emails when it was my wife's birthday tonight, so we were at dinner, I was getting text messages from Michael Valentino, sitting back there. It sounds like you're anti-development, is basically what he was texting me throughout. And then everything's gonna be more stringent. And I'll read you this last text. Just so you can, and we're all gonna get together and put a letter together, she says. Oh, I'm still here, and Grace said, developers can suck it, so I don't.
Oh, did I really say that?
Probably.
Well, sorry
So-
about that.
Goes out of context though, because I think overall
Yeah.
you are encouraging to.
But that's the
allow
risk,
more.
that's the risk that you say it, yeah. I didn't, there was.
I guess my point is, if you don't want development, that's great, but this whole downtown here, if that's called the village. I mean, you're just gonna see more and more for lease signs and, I mean. I don't know what, if you polled the residents of Ada, it'd probably be split on what's happened there. I don't know, hard to say. Making traffic, I think is what I've heard, a lot more traffic, it seems like. People trying to go to work in the morning. But I think you guys gotta be careful, what you do here, And I don't know who wrote Ada's new village. I mean, I don't know if they hired a consultant. Have you guys ever looked into that? Hired a consulting firm just to kind of look at your current ordinance and make
Oh,
recommendations.
yeah,
Right there.
for like the last 3 years.
Are you? Okay, are you?
I'm with Kenna. We did not write it, so.
Okay.
We.
Aggressive.
Is that kind of? That's an engineering firm in town, or I'm not kind of,
We're a plans,
Grand Rapids, or,
we're based in the Detroit area.
so did you like go through everything and make recommendations?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
we've been, with the subcommittee,
5 subcommittees.
yeah, well, no, we have 3 members of this board and. Planning, as well as Andrea, and some of our team.
But I don't think it's, McKenna was listening to what the feedback was, so.
Yeah. But I'll take 2 more minutes. I mean, the problem I always had with Cascade was when I went to go develop was, in the current ordinance, there's a steep slopes ordinance. You gotta take out so much, if your slopes between this and this, you gotta take out 50% of that. If it exceeds this, none of that can become a developable area for a PUD.
With PUDs,
Or for a site condo. For a site condo, so. I don't know if that's, I knew that was still in there. Is it? Yeah. So to me, that's never ever made sense to me, unless you have septic, but they have trench, what are called trench septics now, which are very common out along the lake shore and the side of the dunes for steep slopes, so anyways. Requiring a 66-foot right of way for just even one house. Or 2 houses. When Steve was here, he would let me I would split off one lot, either alongside or most of the time it's behind it, an existing house. Or like I did one on Pine Park, that's a perfect example. The person on 36th Street had 5 acres. I bought their backyard, but I brought my driveway in off the cul-de-sac on Pine Park and got an easement from the gentleman that faces Pine Park. You guys would never allow that to. And it was a 30-foot easement. And the house sits back there on 2.5 acres, and that's beautiful. You know, but that would never fly today, from what it sounds like. And it sounds like you guys want to go from 19 homes down the private drive down to 5.
We changed it.
And, yeah, I mean, why is 19 bad? And
Traffic.
Oh, because, well, we flashed it out, I don't.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's-
I mean, like, so like I can, and that's with one entrance.
That was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's the private.
8 has got the same thing. 8 is at 20. Yeah, but you know. I can, like, I tried to split 10 acres in, I don't know if you know, guys know Skyvale. Out there, so they're maxed out at 20. There's already 26 homes in there, so 6 people have gotten variances. And then there's a 10-acre lot back there. That I tried to split into, 4 times. And, they finally put their foot down and said no. But, so that would never fly here. Right?
No, I don't think so.
So, but,
You have to make it a county road.
Up to public.
yeah, but that's the other thing too, you guys got. The road commission doesn't want to take care of any more roads. Go flat, I'll tell you that.
Have you checked?
I mean, last I talked to them, they're like, we want everything to be private going forward. Unless it's a main road where it's gonna be part of a connection from this street to this street. They don't, they're already maxed out. And especially if it's got cul-de-sacs, they don't, they have a hard time turning around. But, I just think you guys gotta be, if you don't want a development, you're not gonna get it. Right, and then you're gonna have leaf signs and weeds growing in parking lots, and I mean, Old 28th Street could be really cool if you did it right, And I mean, at, what do you call at the
Plaza?
street here, yeah, I mean, where
Bowling?
buses, what's that called? Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Forever Plaza.
That never really did well,
No.
but it's, I think it looks a lot better now, which is what, it was pretty ugly,
If they ever did well, they let them build a gas station in front of that.
Yeah.
Other people they see what was back.
Yeah.
Yeah, poorly worded on my end, sorry. In isolation, that sounds bad. It wasn't meant exactly like
But,
that.
when I was here earlier, I was hearing you, when we get calls from developers and they make fun of us, well, that's exactly what you get.
100%.
That's what you guys got to, and then when things start dilapidating down here, because no developer is gonna do anything, then the residents are gonna start saying, why does it look like shit down in the village, right? And then we're gonna have to start all over again, so. That's kind of what I wanted to make sure you guys don't forget, I'm 62, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna even live here, so. I'm gonna be heading to warmer climates, but I'm very busy right now. I have, been having a good year, so. But, I just, my kids want to stay here, of course, so. Anyways, that's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Any other public comment? Would you like to say something? I do. Yeah, I'm Michelle Lauer, and I'm at 2992 Overlook Summit, and I first of all want to say thank you very much, because I know a lot of hard work went into this and developing the form-based code and then all the zoning recommended changes, so thank you. And obviously the devil is in the details, but there's a lot of good there, so hopefully the baby won't get thrown out with the bathwater. And I wanted to ask, even though I think that the developers and the business people outnumber the residents, thank you for looking out for the best interest of the residents. As public servants, like a profit motive is not supposed to be a key part of the decision making. So I think you guys really are looking out for the residents, and please continue that regardless of the pressure that you get from developers. I know it's always there. I've been associated with Cascade for more than 50 years, and it's not the developers that gave it its charm. And so for them to kind of be threatening, I mean, please keep ignoring that. And just, don't get pulled into the black and white thinking of if you don't, do it the way we want it, then you're not gonna get any development. Because I don't think it's true. So thank you for all your hard work. This was a marathon session. And, we really appreciate it as residents, even though there weren't many residents here tonight. Sure, are you a resident or a business? Okay, to us. So now we outnumber everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you.
No one's virtually, are they, Nick?
No.
Okay, is there a motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?